Initiating System 1. System 1 loaded.
The GoreCast is brought to you by American Horrors, the greatest uncut horror channel in the world. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all horror. As well as the station of decapitation without your head.
America's longest running horror channel, www.withoutyourhead.com.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
What's up, GoreCasters?
Welcome back here to the GoreCast with me, Johnny Deadly, and the rest of my movie munching cohorts on our annual Thursday outing where we all pre-watch some flicks and come and discuss said pre-watched flicks with you. Trev, what's going on?
Hey, Trev.
Music by Keith.
We
every
ingest
day of the show,
movies.
and then we have music by Mike Rydell on a Sunday. Keith McCoy became the unofficial soundtrack of the GoreCast.
Well, to be fair, he does have a tendency to do drums for a lot of bands in Limerick and Ireland.
And he also produces loads of horror movie
Themed.
soundtrack things for the
Like-
crack.
There's a Rochi in the chat.
What's going on? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey, it's weird you
Trev
said whoop,
says-
whoop. I'm wearing my, I've gone all blurry. I'm wearing my Marty Skrull t-shirt at the moment. Whoop, whoop. Oh.
Whoop, whoop.
Trev, as I explained to you earlier, okay, what you saw was the clone. I'm the real one. I've got all the scars.
That's
Okay.
what clones would say.
No, I would make sure.
What in the flying fuck are you talking about?
Did we miss something?
I
Or?
woke up to a message this morning from Trev saying, saw you on the bike. Jesus, cold out. To which I responded, I'm only after waking up. I don't know who the hell you saw. He was like, oh my
And then
God,
he
it must
told
have been your
us-
Maybe
clone.
Kev just saw some biker screaming angrily at random traffic going by and was like, oh, it's Giz.
And then it was like, hey guys, be careful, that Giz is a clone. And Giz was like, no. I'm like, yeah, that's what a clone would say.
Mm,
Technically in canon, Giz is a clone.
I don't think
If you
this
wanna be
world
blunt.
can
What?
handle two of them.
See? That's what a clone would say.
Storyline canon. I mean, like, Santa Claus can't bring people
Okay,
back to
Bill.
life,
yeah, you can.
can he?
Sure.
Is
It's a
there any
Christmas miracle.
Is there any historical backup for that?
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life.
Does Santa Claus bring someone back to life in A Wonderful
Wait,
Life?
what can Santa do?
Kind of.
No, he never killed himself.
That's what you do. That's what they want you to think.
No.
That's what the
All
story
I'm hearing
tells
is
me. That
clone
he never
talk.
killed.
That's all I'm hearing. I know
Right.
there's
What I'm
two
hearing
words
is I think
coming
you
out of
watched
Giz's
the
mouth,
wrong
but
It's a
all I keep
Wonderful
hearing is
Life.
just clone, 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 clone.
Apparently, Bill is also convinced I'm a clone. Fuck you, Bill. I never follow orders, and we know it.
Wouldn't technically that make him less of a clone?
No, because in Star Wars, all the
The clone
clones follow
would, though.
orders. Good soldiers follow orders, unless, of course, you ripped out your chip or you're defective.
Belly JBs.
So anyway,
Right. We have
Hmm.
a goddamn smorgasbord of awesomeness for you tonight, because all the movies were good, in my opinion.
yeah,
Oh, that's my favorite word.
Which one?
2 out of the 3 were good.
There's 13
this should be
Fanboy.
interesting.
I'm
Well,
assuming.
you'll find out when we get there.
Well, that's a
13
yes.
Fanboy.
We'll find out when we get
Oh,
there.
Okay. Well, I don't mean to shock you, but we're technically already there because that's the first movie we're probably going to be talking about.
13.
Okie dokie.
Okay, we'll find
so
out.
Anyway, we got a whole host of
shortly.
movies up for you tonight. We have 13 Fanboy, which if you were a fanboy of Friday the 13th, this is the movie for you because it's literally got all of the fan service one could possibly want. Especially people like Giz and I who are big fans of the Don't Sleep in the Woods, the Jason Fanboy movie that came out years ago.
Behind the Mask?
No, Jason Fanboy movie.
Don't
It's
hike.
like Don't Hike in the Woods.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it's the same director. And the person who plays the Jason style character in this, as in the large slasher villain that goes around killing people, is in fact the actor that plays Jason in Don't Hike in the Woods.
Huh.
Giving a little bit more gravitas to one of the ending fights that happens, where it's kind of like, I always wanted my chance to take your mantle, and it's kind of like, oh, that makes sense now. Right.
Well, I always wanted to see if a harder than my dad kind of. That's
Yeah. So that's good. So we have 13 Fanboy, which it's basically there's a fanboy who dresses like a slasher guy who goes around hunting people who were in Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
Does and
other movies.
No,
because Dee Wallace was not in Friday the 13th.
Oh, that stumped the crowd.
She was not in a Friday the 13th film.
I thought she was in
I've
two.
never seen. I've never seen the wheels start
was.
spinning. I've never seen the wheels start spinning on two people that quick before in my life.
I'll let him look it up. I couldn't give a fuck right now.
I didn't even think about that. I just kind of assumed.
While
and it's
Johnny
been
looks-
so long since I've seen them, so.
While Johnny looks that up, also on the plate for tonight is Last Night in Soho, which sees an art student go to London, only to realize that she is being haunted by a murder victim from the 60s who bears
Or
a striking
being
similarity to
teleported
herself.
into the 60s, either or.
Well, she's a medium, so it's kind of it's a mental teleportation. And I suppose last but not least, we finally get to unleash some carnage as Venom 2 is out. Yay! And
Yeah, which I
Yeah,
don't know how I feel about.
I was going to say I have mixed feelings about. The
Yeah,
more I watch it, the more kind of I get about it.
Yep.
Which it shouldn't be.
No.
Yep.
And there's a couple of character issues that, yes, I admit it's comic book stuff kicking in, but this is the only time, animated included, that they've ever decided to go this way with something, and it just burnt my brisket a little bit. So yeah, but have to wait till 2022 for season 2 of Bad Batch. Oh, but 2022 is just next month, you knob jockey.
Yeah, but September 2022.
Yeah,
it's
that's
still
not too.
right around
September.
I've got season 2 for
not-
my birthday. Yeah.
That's not a month.
Forgot how many fucking zombie movies Dee Wallace was in.
Oh, dude, she's been
Just go through her
so much.
filmography and
I am going through her filmography. That's where.
But
That's when I
she's got a
realized
whole
that I had forgotten that she was in.
And that's
Freaks
why he
in
said
Hell,
there's
and
a
was
lot of
also in.
Hey, welcome, Joseph.
Lords of Salem. Hey, what's up, Joseph? How are you?
hello.
Welcome to the chats in The Guardian. So
You
Dee
can't go through her
Wallace was not
filmography
in
quickly.
a Friday the 13th movie.
Dun, dun, dun.
I will take a little curtain call. Oh, thank you very much. It's one thing I know about, and that's Friday the 13th.
Dude, that's why I was
Yeah,
leaving.
That's why.
Like, it's been a
now
dog.
my brain just automatically put her in a movie because she was in this movie, and now
I'll be honest. There's so many. I'll be
Mhm.
honest. There's
And
so
it's like
many.
funny because she's like
There's so
kind
many
of the main
Friday the
character.
13th.
or one
There's
of
so
the
many
main
Friday the
characters.
13th movies, and they've had so many people in them that like a lot of the time it's kind of like, oh yeah, she was in Friday the 13th. Okay, fair enough.
But she's one of those people that are more known. She's one of those people that are more known than the others, to where if she was in one, it would pop out and be like, oh,
Well,
okay, she's in this one. Like
technically,
half the other
she just
people,
kind of got
I
pulled
couldn't
into
even.
it, though, if you think about it.
Yeah, no, I'm just. I mean, it doesn't bother me one way or the other.
I know that technically she kind of got pulled into it by proxy, but now it kind of the entire methodology behind the thing kind of now makes less sense.
Because
he is attacking people via like Friday the 13th. Like, I liked how you were killed in Friday the 13th and all that stuff, and she wasn't in it.
Now I'm confused.
So, sorry
did she even have a small role?
Sorry
in
to
Friday
ruin
the
your
13th?
day.
What was the horror franchise she was in?
Everything else apparently.
I know she was in Cujo and
she
Howling
was
and things like
in. Yeah, but this is my point.
She was in
like
Cujo.
everything except fucking Friday the 13th. Child's Play. She was never in Child's Play.
No.
And like I said, I mean, she kind of got pulled in by proxy on this one. She was never really supposed to be.
Yeah, but no, here's the thing. She
was in Critters.
If you think about it, she does get pulled in by proxy, but also
Hills
that
Have
was
Eyes.
the end goal.
Yeah.
Which means she didn't get pulled in by proxy. She kind of got pulled in intentionally. Which now has confused me. Fuck. Well, that's changed my opinion on this.
She's in the
I
original
really like
Hill.
this movie, to be honest.
I liked it. I mean, like, I still do. But that does kind of change, like, if you were going around trying to collect bottle caps, by the end of this movie, you're not really collecting bottle caps anymore. So the story kind of derailed itself.
Yeah, because she's been in so many horror movies. When I just saw the plot of this, my brain just shoved her into a Friday the 13th film. Yeah, I know that.
She was in the original Hills Have Eyes.
Stupid question. Is it possible Dee Wallace worked on the production of the Friday the 13th movies before, like...
No, because we were going after actors and actresses.
I don't think so.
That's the only thing I could think of, like, because the whole idea is that the whole idea of in 13 Fanboy is that your one's grandmother is supposed to be best friends with Dee Wallace, and I thought they'd let because of the Friday the 13th.
Well, they said that, like, those that meet in the horror genre tend to kind of become friends. You stick with who you trust.
They're a very tight-knit group.
Yeah. So all the crew, all of the cast of the genre tended to kind of like stay friends with each other. Shit.
That's kind of the one thing I did like about it, was like seeing a little bit of that, because like I knew that's kind of how it was with a lot of the actors, because it's especially in the horror genre, and especially for the non Kevin Bacons and people that like start and then go off to bigger things. It's kind of a niche genre, so like it's kind of a tight knit, community between people that have done it
for that long, kind of thing.
And like, yeah, and my thing is, the two things that I did like about this movie.
We should
one of them is like, I don't know
review
if
the
it's
movie
necessarily
first
like I
before
like
we get
it.
into the end part.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. Right. Okay. Yeah. Production wise, I don't think she was associated on a production capacity either, from the looks of it. No. Anyway, yeah. So look, whole plot of the
that
movie
really changes everything now, kind of deal.
It does. I'm wondering, was it just to keep this away from the Friday the 13th stuff enough that there would be no legal ramifications?
I don't know, because I mean, like, they stamped everybody else.
They could go as Friday the 13th as they wanted. I mean, the whole copyright issue is on the Jason Voorhees character specifically.
Right.
At the moment,
and I mean, they called out each person that so and so from this episode, from this movie and shit.
Yeah, they had
little
things underneath it.
like elbow deep in the whole franchise of it and shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, the whole movie's about an obsessed fan that decides to finally, like, that was the weird part. Like, he grew up watching all the films and got like a weird obsession with them, and then decides he wants to, but it's the character, not the person, and then decides he wants to kind of Jason each of them off of this world.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
there's kind of a behind the mask vibe to this, where it's kind of like crazy fanboy goes to the gym too much and gets a little bit too into the universe of Friday the 13th and start the blurred lines of where things of reality end and where things of Camp Crystal Lake begin become to get a little bit gray in the middle.
He makes a comment early on when he I think he had I can't remember which one, but one of the girls kind of in a room, and he was like, my father when I was younger, when I got in trouble or whatever, would throw me in the basement, and the only thing I had was this stack of VHSs, and I watched them all the time, and you guys were like my family.
Laura.
Lara Lincoln. Yeah.
It was Lar Park Lincoln. She
was
from
the psychic
Carrie type in Friday the 13th Part 7. Yeah.
That is one of my favorites because it's not
one of my favorites.
That's actually possibly one of my favorite Friday the 13th, literally because it just takes Jason out of his element.
It's the first.
Huh?
It's the first with Kane Hodder.
Yeah.
It's the first of Kane Hodder.
Well, yeah. Well, that aside,
it's
like,
the best
she
looking
picks up
Jason.
a TV with her mind and like just starts kicking his ass through the whole fucking movie.
Well, you see, that's why it was interesting, because customarily, like, we were used to Jason being this like omnipotent force through the franchise, and maybe due to like you had the Feldman incident where he very quickly turned himself into Baby Jason, which then confused Baby Jason, which then gave his sister enough time to bury a machete cleaning his fucking skull. You had these kind of things, but mostly it was this omnipotent force ripping teenagers apart, which that still is in that particular Friday the 13th. But when it gets down to getting to your main protagonist, it gets interesting because she can pick them up with her mind powers.
It's because normally it's, he's chasing after said, final girl, and eventually catches up, and she just kind of lucks out and stops him for that film. This one, like, she legitimately, like,
and I love it,
stood toe to toe and
one
went
scene
at
where
Jason,
he's just kind of like,
opposed
what
to
the fuck
running away
on?
from
we're
Jason.
mates with Mary as well, Joseph. He was on this show actually a couple of times. Ari's a bona fide gorecaster, and we have great time from Newbie. What's going on? Welcome to the chat. How are you, sir?
Hello.
Well, that kind of was a thing. I mean, like
Joseph, who apparently has seen this, he said that D. Wallace is one of his favorite actors that he stalks, or maybe he's saying that's one of his favorite actors that he stalks. I don't disagree with you, Newbie. I would have loved Jason versus Carrie to be a thing. That would have been a...
Yeah. And some of it has to deal with stuff we can't get into when it comes towards the end of what we find out. That could also tie this into it. So I can't really get into it without spoilage.
To go spoiling, I think, because it only came out kind of end of October. But needless
to say,
saying, and
that's
from a guy...
Because there's a different aspect I can see from
a guy who, while watching movies, is known as Carter Saw when we were doing that terrible Bruce Campbell movie with Mike over the weekend. Sometimes I have these savant-like premonitions where, for no apparent reason, the entire plot of the movie will just unfold in front of my eyes for no apparent reason. I don't know how I do it, but I do it. And this, I will say in credit to it, kept me guessing. Because hell, when the twist in this movie comes up, I was like, well, fuck me sideways. I did not see that coming.
And you put that in the chat. So now I'm like, okay, so there's like some weird twist. So now I'm watching even harder than you are. And I still was like, okay, I don't see how Johnny missed it. It's this motherfucker right here. And I still got fucking thrown off by the end. I was like, okay, you know what? I like this fucking movie. Fuck it.
That was going to be one of the things I said that I did like is they did a really good job at misdirection of who you thought was the person multiple times. They have different people show up throughout the movie where you're like, okay, maybe it's this guy. Okay, well, he sounds like he's cleared, and then somebody else pops up. And you're like, okay, maybe it's this guy.
The smartest things
and
they did
it keeps you guessing until
now it's a blatant, obvious throw off. But one of the smartest things that they did as a throw off, I think, was every actor in this pretty much played themselves, except for sleazy, horny, pervy movie producer Corey Feldman.
And that motherfucker made my skin crawl.
And the main
scene.
chick.
It was 2-3 seconds, but he killed the sleazy fucking producer.
I was full sure he had something to do with it, just because it was like, why is he the only one that?
Right.
I'll be honest. At one point, because of the way things were happening, I was fully convinced. Like there's a scene that happens, and I'm just watching it, going, oh, "Okay, so there's 3 guys, 2 or 3 guys. There has to be, because there's no way one person can do that, this, and this at the same." Like there was one of them where I was actually like, oh, "Okay, they're being hunted by a predator now." What? Just because it's like they're in the middle of nowhere, and there's voices all around them, and the voice seems to be coming from everywhere. And it's kind of like, shouldn't they be able to? There's not an awful lot of cover, and I'd imagine you'd be able to pick out the direction of a voice fairly quickly. But I actually legitimately, apart from that, there was a couple other bits where I did
he was also a fanboy of ET. That could be it. That could possibly be it.
But like, I was convinced for a while that it was going to turn out that there was like 2 or 3 guys, and I was kind of right-ish.
Yes,
I will say I liked what was her name? Haley. She played the Kelsey main character. Dude, she could fucking throw hands. Like, it was kind of cool to see her like try to tie up with some shit from time to time.
It was nice to see someone.
Yeah, it was.
And
dude.
I'm not saying this in a sexist way, but it was nice to see someone of the female persuasion dishing out some pain
right.
in relation to this. Because at no point was it just, I'm good at MMA, and they handled her fight scenes like realistically. Like when she's going up against the Jason guy, it kind of doesn't matter how hard you're able to punch and kick. That guy is 5 times bigger than you, and he can deal with it. But I'll tell you what you can do is you can choke that motherfucker out in a triangle hold. A triangle hold. Jesus Christ, English. What the fuck?
No, like I said, I think they really fucking handled her shit really well.
And,
like that. Yeah. Because like you said, they put size in comparison up there. She was able to throw some quick jabs, but she was more into moves and shit.
Yeah.
And we also had a Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, that was weird, man. That entire monologue is kind of like, Jesus. That's considering
the whole when she was acting and she went to go stab the girl and it ended up being a real knife. Whoops-a-daisies. A little bit on the nose there, Mr. Alec Baldwin.
Yes,
I did feel like we
obviously this was done before that
kind of quickly though.
Also, something that I thought was
bigger things came up. So
there was something near the end that I thought was kind of cool. Dee Wallace at one point is like, "Get away from her, you bastard!" And then you have fucking CJ arriving on, and it's like, "Oh, you want a shot at the champ, do you?" And all the flash in my head is aliens, and then Lethal Weapon.
I love that. I fucking loved that entire fight.
Like,
I was like, if
Riggs.
you want Friday the 13th fan service, that was the conversation I was speaking of at the start, where it was kind of the whole, I've always looked at you like a father. Don't know why I'm not in that many Friday. You know what? We won't get into that right now. Let's just get to the punching each other. How about that? Okay, cool.
Right.
Really good.
I think you would have been happy with it.
And Kane, as a guy who is a big fan of you, not that I don't like you as a human being, but it was nice to see you get to do a death scene for once where you were the one dying.
Right. And just have some passionate shit to say.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that is, because myself and Johnny have met Kane Hodder, the first thing that went through my mind is, holy shit, how big is the other dude?
He's not. Yeah, he's big.
Only because like height wise,
Like,
only because
I don't
like
know.
there's still the photo of Johnny, and like I was like a fucking Lilliputian next to the guy, and I'm just thinking in my head, this dude is supposed to be larger than Kane. Wow, how tall
Well,
is
Kane's
he?
only like 6. Kane's not much taller than me.
Even still, he's a big dude.
Oh no, he's a fucking huge dude. It's one of the reasons he nearly broke my neck when I was standing beside him, because I don't think he liked the fact that I was nearly as tall as him.
And my point being that like
I was also
guy...
I did the first thing I said when I met him was I was like, I'm not saying this disrespectfully, I was kind of expecting you to be bigger. Because it's just you just in Friday the 13th.
And then you
ways,
asked for
you know what I mean? It was like
bigger.
I was expecting this like 7. Like you see Tony Todd in real life, and Tony Todd is a fucking giant.
Everyone's a giant to me, so it doesn't really make much of a
I'm
difference.
up to his nipples, and there's photographic evidence. I'm literally eye-hide at his nipples. If Tony Todd had boobies, I would have been in heaven. That's a lie. I was in heaven anyway. I was having points with Tony Todd. But like Kane, I was also expecting to be like 7 foot. Now, don't get me wrong. The dude is fucking jacked. Like that expression on the. I'll try and find the photo before the end of the show. That expression on my face where he's got me in that fucking headlock was half fun and half, oh my god, I'm getting choked out by Jason. Which slowly turned into, oh my god, I'm getting choked out by Jason.
And it's not a joke.
He gave me a donkey
he's
bite.
Legitimately choking.
Do you know what a donkey? You know what a donkey bite is?
Yep.
I went to get his autograph before everything
Please
finished,
tell.
and shit went. I won't get into it on air because I can't get into it on
Oh,
air. But
yeah.
shit went down, and didn't have autographs weren't a thing. But he just came over. He was like, "Sorry, I never got to get your autograph," and just gave me a big fucking donkey bite at the back of my arm. And he was like, "There you go. You got a bruise from Jason." And I was like, "Oh." I'm so happy and in so much pain right now. It's not even funny. Oh, I'll give that guy credit, dude. I had a fucking fucking massive purple bruise on the back of my arm for 3 or 4 weeks after that fucking thing. It was.
Oh wow.
The other part I found interesting was the fact that like it's something that I'm sure obviously we all know, but I don't know like how much other people know into it, is the fact of like this shit happens, like the stalking shit, especially not just them in general. It happens obviously a lot of people, but like I've heard countless of stories from Heather Langenkamp, from a lot of the people who played in Friday the 13th. So it's like it was kind of interesting that they kind of brought that. I don't know if that was their intention to like kind of bring.
Oh, sorry.
She's had issues with stalkers in the past. Yeah, I'm just talking about them bringing that kind of subject into the movie to kind of bring that out there. That I don't know if that was. I'm not obviously that wasn't their full intention.
No, I had a moment where I was like, "Hang on a minute,"
but like,
Langenkamp was in
it might have been.
What the fuck is going on?
I don't know.
No. But my part of it is like they did that, and it's just like, to me, the movie was a bit too goofy.
That's weird. I didn't really
what
see
I
the
didn't like
goofiness
about
of
it.
I didn't get goofy from it at all.
I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed too like the whole fight at the end. It's like, okay,
right? Like
you also have to take into account as well. There's a lot of fan service there because that Don't Hike in the Woods short film that was done, that went fucking viral. Like I remember Bloody Disgusting and Rue Morgue and iHorror, and everyone were sharing that movie around when that movie came out.
I've never seen it, so
there was another movie he did as well where it was like Don't Hike in the Woods, but you remember it was during the snow. It was snowing as well, but there's 2 movies done, short fan films of Jason, done by that guy, where the guy who plays the killer in this is also the guy who plays Jason in both of those movies. So I think there was a lot of fan service there just to see short film Jason get to go up.
See, I've never seen them, and I'm not like the biggest fan of films, so
they might as well be movies. They're super high production.
Yeah,
they're super well shot. Everything like they're not like shitty fan films that were done on no budget. Like this guy put some fucking money into it.
So this was directed by Deborah Voorhees. And the writing credit goes to her and Joe Paul Resig.
Yeah, Joe Paul Resig.
Resig, okay.
Who I think is the guy that did the short films, if memory serves me correctly.
So,
because there's a couple of actors from MMA Girl's boyfriend is also one of the actors from Don't Hike in the Woods. Do you know
this kind of goes back to like Buzz's thing of like, I don't know if this is like what they intended, but I mean, if that's somebody from the horror genre, then that really could have been like, hey.
Yeah. Because, like I said, I've heard so many different stories from like a lot of these. I know Danielle Harris from the Halloween franchise. She's had her share of stuff like that. It's like it's very well known if you look for it, or if you know. But it's like I don't know if it's one of those things that maybe everybody knows. So like it was just interesting to see them kind of bring that. And the other thing is, I was thinking is I don't know for sure or not, but if I know it's a movie, but like some of the scenes where they're at like the convention and stuff like that, was this filmed pre-COVID? Because you didn't really see anybody
but a
wearing
lot of
any
places
masks.
Took the masks off during filming, and then
there's testing on
Yeah,
site.
they're all tested.
Yeah. No, because
Basically,
what a lot of them were doing
works as a consultant on some like bigger, like he just got off.
So then that's what I was kind of thinking. So they must not have actually went to actual conventions to get some of these shots, because if they would have, people would have been masked up.
Also, they need to be able to, like, unless they're looking for stock footage for the most part, they need to be able to control the environment and what's happening in it.
Yeah.
So
no, I would highly doubt that's live.
And if you look at it, there's only 3 or 4 people in front of their tables. This isn't like,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
a lot of places like you get tested on site.
If you remove the convention, if you remove the,
I get that with a movie.
Shots,
like
if
it was
as
actual...
Carter said, there's not crazy queues of people. There's not crazy queues of people in front of the desk.
Yeah.
If you remove those convention shots out of it, every other shot in the movie is them. It's that core group of actors all dealing with each other.
No, I know.
So I know Steve was working on a Ray Liotta movie, and he said that it's literally everyone has to have their COVID passport things, and they test everyone every day before they go on set.
Yeah. Which is what I figured.
There's no extra people on set.
I figured that's probably
like, who's on call for being in shots today, X, Y, and Z. Okay, you're the guys that are on set today. No one else is on. And
I mean, like you can't. Like,
sorry, I just realized I never had the movie playing in the background.
Like Giz was saying, you can't really control a fucking con. There's so many people walking around there.
No,
you can get stock footage for something just to kind of have it there to tack it on to your controlled scenes to make it look like you actually have a convention. But for the most part, I think it'd probably be a set with.
It was more intimate, like not that many.
Probably have an actual like set,
which is what I figured.
Have everything set up to make it look like it's a convention.
Yeah.
Because I mean, really, if you look at it, it was just kind of like a curtain behind them, which could have been any room in a house or something, and then a few tables and shit,
or even just a rented out hall for the sake of filming.
Right.
Yeah. All in all, outside of the confusion of realizing Dee Wallace wasn't in a Friday the 13th movie, which that one lady that shocked the shit out of me, because I just saw her in there, and she's been in so many goddamn horror movies, and knowing the whole theme of this going into the movie when I was watching it, my brain just shoved her into a Friday the 13th somewhere. I was just like,
is that a typo? Like,
and that's when
all fanboy.
I don't know if.
Oh yeah, you've got an extra.
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, is that not how you spell it in America? 13 Fanboy?
No, that's why I was asking. I'm always trying to soak up your culture.
Yeah, we've discussed this before, how, the spelling of words changes. Oh, I mean,
the N is silent.
Oh, see? That's so what silent. I'm saying, dude. I learned.
So it's so silent that sometimes we just go ahead and we just remove it.
Yeah, if it's going to confuse people, I'll just take out... I could see how you would think it would be pronounced 13 Fanboy, so I just said I'd just go for the conventional spelling.
But knowing that it's silent now, like completely wakes me fucking up. I'm like, oh, get it now. So.
The N is silent. I also turned on the subscribe logo at some stage. Don't remember doing that.
Just a nice little reminder.
Yeah. No,
it's okay.
And like, there's not a lot.
Remind people to subscribe.
Oh, maybe.
There it was.
Maybe they have the same subscribe button that I use on the end of their video because my subscribe button isn't on.
I will say there's not like a lot of special effects, but what was there looked good. Like I really fucking
the kills and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a drill kill which I thought was done beautifully.
The knife is good.
The knife was good.
After scene where they were just kind of like having fun on set. Like I don't know, for some reason that really mattered too.
The knife was good. The Kane Hodder kill was good. And like Kane is one of those guys where you kind of got typecast after doing so many I'm a dude in a mask murdering people style of movies, and he's been trying to get into the not a dude in a mask murdering people style movies, and it was cool to see Kane get to do bite on his acting chops a little bit here and not just be dude in a mask,
and also express that
tears. We got a genuine heartfelt tell my kids I love them.
That was another part. Like I don't know if it's like I don't think it's a spoiler or not, but like that's going into his scene where before he actually dies, like that girl gets hung from the noose and then the killer is just gone. I'm like,
are you having issues with this? How many Friday the 13th movies have you seen?
I told you.
Yes, I am. Yeah, but this isn't a Friday the 13th movie. It's supposed to be centered in reality, not Jason
movies. I think he could pick up a magic trick or two.
No,
so
but
he gets special powers.
He dies behind a fucking chair before someone walks in the fucking room.
And then Jason, like he was like legitimately, I'd say Jason because that's what I normally say. Kane Hodder, he went to get up and like remove her from the noose. I'm like, dude was like, why didn't he stop him from doing that? Because that negates him trying to kill her.
There
with a blade.
He murdered her.
No, he was stuck with a blade, lying on the ground, bleeding out.
It just, I don't know. The timing just seemed like that was very fast for him to be gone, and then Kane Hodder to be up and trying to get her down. I'm like, that just seemed like he should have still been in vicinity of maybe not legitimately standing right there, but like he like, oh shit, no, you're not.
Or he just wanted him to fucking like, haha, suffer, watch your friend die while I buck the fuck out of here. Again, deranged in a franchise of horror movies. Like,
have you not seen Behind the Mask, the story of Leslie Vernon?
Dude, that's a good.
Before you go further into this line of, I don't get how he's able to just disappear. Watch Behind the Mask, because like Behind the Mask is literally like it's
a how-to.
They train, those motherfuckers train like the SA fucking S. They are the Navy SEALs of murder. These guys. That is literally what Behind the Mask is all about. It's just, it could be a scary movie thing. Was there a set of curtains in the room that I didn't notice? Maybe he was just behind the curtains. Do you know? It could be one of those kind of things.
What you don't realize is, the way the rope was attached. You know the way the rope that she was hanging from was attached to like this crossbeam thing.
Yes.
What you don't notice is that he is trained to inhale and fit right in behind it. So he was actually there the entire time. You just couldn't see him because he sucked in his breath and he's just like right behind that
CrossFit
beam.
Jesus. No, wait, that's Seth Rollins.
He became Slender Man.
They do use
You're
the
right.
same
They do have the
Slender
Man
thing.
Weird. We're in good company, people. I love that. Makes my job,
Makes our job easy.
You know what?
You should go and like and subscribe, seeing as they reminded me to do it. You should go like and subscribe Lions Movies on YouTube, because that's where I got the trailer. And while you're liking and subscribing on Lions Movies on YouTube, maybe you drop an old like and subscribe on our page down below.
2 for 1.
Help us grow the channel. We'll do a little trailer thing or a little like and subscribe warning now. And actually, while you're there, give a like on the video now, which would be nice. We have 10 people watching. And we have.
I must be like. Nope, shit. I'm sorry, guys.
Dare
I accidentally disliked the video.
Watch that one fucking count the most. All right.
I re-liked it. I went to hit the chat and live.
You know
chat
what?
and
I will
it
say
said
that-
Well,
thumbs down.
analytics are analytics. I
Fastly
suppose. So
hit
we'll
thumbs
just,
up.
that's good. I already liked it at the start of
Thank
the
you,
show,
Bill.
and that's why I like you, Bill. You're punctual and you're effective.
No.
I will say,
You do what
Dee
we tell you
Wallace
to do.
aside for the storyline, because I didn't even. That never occurred to me. I still like them.
I'm so happy
Like,
I got to
it's
drop
one of
that.
those
One of
How
those
long
things
are you
when you
holding
said
it
it,
in?
I was like, wait a minute. She
The
isn't
buzz
in a
probably
Friday
put
the 13th. And then I was like, no, wait, why is she the lead lady that everyone's looking to go after? If she...
I bet you put on the movie and went, I am so gonna get him with this one. Right.
I didn't think that because I
am not-
assumed you guys
but
knew
my
too,
brain just-
but I guess not.
The movie made me
So
just
yay
go,
me. Because the whole time she popped up, I'm like, she's not in Friday
That's
the
okay.
13th. And like every
Dee
time,
Wallace popped
I'm
up.
like,
And
she's not in Friday the 13th.
no, Dee Wallace.
I
Popped
didn't
up,
read
and I was
that
like,
in the
Dee
co- in the-
Wallace,
in
and
the
I
book.
like just went to my
That's what I
happy
was saying
place
the whole
watching her
time.
fucking do shit.
yep, pretty much. Carter was the one
I have my
defending the
moments
gilfiness
sometimes
of
where
Dee
my
Wallace, but I
actual
was
knowledge
explaining that I was like, it was great to see her on screen in an acting chops kind of way. Still got it, not in a, I want to gilfer. And Carter was like,
I was necessarily defending her guiltiness, although I'm not arguing.
Oh, I did like that we got to see the mother and son Friday the 13th Part 5 there briefly. Junior and that one lady, they show them very briefly in the convention part.
Yeah,
They're at the table. I forgot what she
I
said.
completely
It
forgot
was
about
so
that part, 'cause it's so
briefly.
quick and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it great. Kept chopping off the heads of chickens in Friday the 13th Part 5.
as you do.
Yeah. Okay.
What did he just say?
Trailer time.
Trailer time. And he just said it with such confidence. He's like, trailer time.
No, not yet, because I got to set it up.
Oh.
No.
I thought it was already set up. That's
Like,
why I
full, like, mic
man,
up.
Okay,
that was
never
really
mind.
just, okay, trailer time.
That's
I'm gonna just talk and
that's
it's just
the
gonna pop up out of
um,
nowhere.
That's the
'cause now
live
he's
show
gonna be
equivalent
spoiled.
of. It's the live show equivalent of.
Yes.
Dropping the
I
mic.
agree.
That's what I was trying to say. Oh, of course I can't read the
There
fucking logo. Okay, my life. Damn you, cruel world!
Oh, I'm twiddling my thumbs.
And you know
You
what?
didn't you?
For what looked like a low
God
budget, it
damn
really
you!
didn't come off as like low budget.
No, it didn't. I quite enjoyed it. I think the kills looked quite good as the movie went on.
Right.
I agree with Buzz to a certain degree. It's a bit cheesy here and there, but I mean, when you're doing a movie that's literally fan service to
That's
an entire,
yeah.
like this was. I
Hey,
will
best
say,
artist.
I will say this was a really nice thing for me as a big Friday the
Hi,
13th.
best.
Hey, what's up, RC? How are you? I really like the fact that like there's been Nightmare on Elm Street remakes. Scream's got a remake coming out. I think there's another Nightmare on Elm Street remake coming out as well. Halloween's been getting rebooted and everything, and here it's been Friday the 13th locked in copyright hell. To the point that the game that was keeping everybody happy with having no Friday the 13th there also got locked up in copyright hell. And
Apparently, they're talking about a Halloween extended version now.
of the new one.
Yeah,
Of the
new one, and extended with alternate ending now. Like the shit's been out like what, a month, maybe 2. Like I don't even know. Like Jesus.
I'm gonna throw
Alternate
stuff. I'm
ending.
throwing
Before
stuff.
you throw stuff,
Throwing
let me
stuff.
finish my fucking sentence. It
Who
was
can
nice
have a hissy
as
fit on screen
Friday
first,
the
Johnny or
13th
Buzz?
fanboy to finally get something that felt a bit Friday the 13th-y. And I think that was the main objective in this, was to deliver something that had that Friday the 13th feel. And I know I wasn't a dude up at a bunch of cabins and a load of horny teenagers at a summer camp thing, but it had a Friday the 13th feel to it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Especially with the fact that guy can just up and ghost off of out of nowhere, which.
And it was cool seeing some of the cast coming back just to fuck off and stuff. You know, like
murder them all.
I can't think of the last time I'd really seen a lot of them.
Friday the 13th.
Fuck right.
With special guest D. Wallace.
Special guest D. Wallace. Do you want to do the trailer now and then we will come back? Trailer now. Trailer now.
Trailer now.
Trailer time.
Trailer now.
Keep watching this.
Just wanted to call and tell you I love you and I'm thinking about you and take care of yourself, okay? Broke into my home.
We'll keep your doors locked and your gun loaded.
I was sure that the stalker was just an obsessed fan. No one dangerous.
There.
There's no escape.
There's a man. He's trying to get into my class. He's here now.
That kind of operating thing, but
we were back. That was the trailer for 13 Fanboy. I have a poll that I'm going to add in here now really quickly. Or where'd you go, poll? There it is. Obviously, don't vote yet. Or actually, I'll put the poll in after we're finished voting. Okay, can we get votes for 13 Fanboy, please?
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to go with the 3. Just because I feel... for me, I just feel that while it is massive Friday the 13th fan service, if you're not a massive Friday the 13th fan, you're not going to be serviced by it. You're just going to be sitting there kind of going, I understand that they're all in it, but I'm not a big Friday the 13th fan.
I think there's enough of a solid murder mystery going on there that I don't think you need to be a Friday the 13th fan to get it.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you wouldn't get it. I'm just saying that unless you are a big Friday the 13th fan, you're probably not going to really be into it because you're not going to be getting it on the same level that you would because you are a Friday the 13th fan.
You're not going to get into the characters knowing what they did or didn't do, movie and real life kind of thing. So exactly. I guess with that, I kind of have to go with a 3. It is kind of a target audience, even in the horror genre.
Yeah, I too am a 3, but I did enjoy it wholeheartedly. But yeah.
I didn't say I didn't enjoy it. But...
Definitely, yeah.
Buzz just has to be awkward.
2.
What did he say?
I'm going to go with a 2. Well, because we were all having a nice, happy day here.
Hey, I am a individual.
What did he say?
2.
Do what I
3.
please.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
I said 2.
No,
you're right.
Isn't.
That's not how democracy works. No, money joke.
Democracy works by you. Democracy works by you being told what to do by the person in charge. That's how democracy works.
Okay, Gore Clubbers, we got a 2.75 as an overall vote here.
That's a treat.
Poll hitting the stream there now. If you agree or disagree with us, let us know. If you've seen the movie, do you agree? If you haven't seen the movie, do you also agree? Is it kind of like you've seen the trailer and you're like, I think these guys are talking cock. This looks like a whole ball of fun. Vote in the poll above.
We do talk a lot of cock, though. So,
yep.
I'm so glad that's where the silence came from. I said we do talk a lot of cock.
We do.
And then there was silence.
Talk a lot of cock.
So, like, do we do Venom next and end on like kind of a? I mean, like, neither of these next two films are really horror. Like, do we go?
What the fuck are you on about? Neither of them are horror. Did you watch Last Night in Soho?
It's a
Last Night in Soho.
I mean, like, it's
and labeled a horror film.
And demon ghosts.
It's also
haunting the girl around the
psychological.
place.
Okay, we might as well go into last night in Soho and then leave Venom.
Venom Let There Be Carnage because that's the way it's fucking lined up.
Oh, sweet.
Because I was like, horror, not horror, horror.
That's what I was asking. Like, no, that's the only reason I was asking was like, what are one seems less horror than the other was what I was thinking.
Next part of the poll. Have you seen Last Night in Soho?
I mean, like,
is it a horror film?
I just meant like
Yes
one
or
was
no?
more horror than the other was what I was trying to say.
And Venom was the one that you said was more horror than Last Night in Soho?
Yeah, but for a whole different reason.
Mate, Venom's a straight up fucking comedy movie.
It is.
It's a
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a horror. It's a horror in that aspect. Like, it was just a comedy that should not have been.
Venom Let There Be Carnage is a straight up goddamn comedy movie. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
Not happy. Not fucking happy. I was already on the fence with the first one, and then they did this, and I was like, okay, thanks.
I can see what they were trying to do with the comedy signings. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, the new Venom movie, Venom Let There Be Carnage, which all of us have been super excited about for way too long because the movie's been delayed so many times. And I mean way too long. Ever since we saw Woody Harrelson walk in as Cletus Cassidy, and we were all like, duh, that's correct.
Like, I could not have thought of a better fucking person.
Who's your casting director? Because I would like to shake their hand because that's correct. I know when it comes to casting, there's technically no right answers, but you got to correct.
That's
right
the
answer.
right answer.
You got the right answer. You got the right answer.
And he played it exactly like I thought he would. It was like, oh, fuck yeah. All right.
Buzz, since you were doing, who's doing the? Is anyone doing a synopsis?
Oh, Bill or Buzz has been looking forward to this one, so.
Okay, I'll do
it. Like I will.
To do the synopsis.
Buzz isn't allowed to do synopsises of movies anymore. Last time.
I mean, I can.
45 minutes later.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, good point.
I can do this in under
45. Shush.
Strap in, kids.
So Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Maybe we should let.
I can do
about ships and
for you
whales
really quickly if you would like.
Go.
Okay, so Venom Let There Be Carnage tells the old classic tale of boy meets. We'll give you a quick rundown from Venom to Venom Let There Be Carnage. Boy meets girl. Boy is a fuck up. Boy and girl have issues. Boy meets alien symbiote. Alien symbiote gives boy superpowers. That makes him really cool, but his missus doesn't like the fact that he's really cool. She misses her old boyfriend. That brings us. Some stuff happens. That brings us into movie 2. Serial killer is interested in boy. Boy is interested in serial killer, but for completely different reasons. Serial killer and boy buck up a kind of unknown friendship, depending on what way you look at it. Boy gets in a fight with serial killer. Serial killer bites boy. Alien symbiote blood gets into serial killer, thus making a baby symbiote in him as well. And then that guy turns into Carnage, and then Carnage happens, and then Venom has to go stop it. And there's loads of jokes. Oh, and also, I think the symbiote and Eddie Brock may be the Marvel equivalent of The Odd Couple. Is the vibe that they're going for, except that it being them living in the same house together, it's they're sharing the same body. Needless to say, some stuff happens. They say the name of the movie several times during the course of the movie, which is mandatory. There's a pretty cool car chase. And it all really kind of worked out to a tedious inevitability.
Just briefly going to say hi to Katie, who's popped in for the chats and has been asleep for
Katie.
all day.
Katie, welcome to the chat. How are you?
I can't see anything. The poll is blocking my chat.
So vote.
I think that vote
I
and
didn't
get rid
think
of
we
the
could
poll.
vote on our own shit.
Yeah, we can. That also works.
I just moved
Yeah,
it. 'cause
Venom versus
these,
Carnage.
I
Like I said,
got rid of it.
the fact that they were leaning into the whole odd couple thing with Eddie and the symbiote is one of the big detractors for me, because it's one thing in the first film, but by this stage, like they're too heavy into it. You know, it's
Well, what I find entertaining is that the two of them. One of the main things by the end of the movie is the fact that symbiote and him are a perfect match, and Cletus Cassidy and his symbiote are not. And which is so wrong storyline wise. What actually happens in the comic books is that Cletus Cassidy gets infected with the symbiote, and Cletus Cassidy is so mind strong and so fucking nuts
crazy
that he ends up taking over the symbiote instead of the other way around.
There is no we, there is only me.
Yeah,
unfortunately, in this film, there is
highly
a distinct...
unusual for someone with a symbiote to say.
Yeah. No, in this film, unfortunately, while all of the abilities are fucking spot on, the visuals are spot on, the fact that it is a separate entity, and what's worse, a separate entity that has a fucking big chip on its block in regards, because one of the big things is that Cletus has a girlfriend, Shriek. Now, this is taken from the comics. That's cool. That's grand. But because of the nature of her abilities, this automatically puts her in opposition with Cassidy's symbiote, and that's fair enough. You can work from that. But something happens later in the film whereby she turns around and says to him, "You've gone too far." And I remember thinking, what the fuck did he do that was too far? There's a couple of things in this movie that they don't explain. Like, there's something else as well. There's the cop, Monaghan, is in it. Now, he is a character from the comics. Now, if you've read the comics, you know that there is going to be something. And there is a tease of that in the film.
You know there's going to be something because he's got big glowy eyes by the end of it.
But they never show you how or why. So I actually thought, I was fully convinced. I was kind of like, did I blink and miss a scene? Did I do it twice?
Could you fill me in as to what's going on there? Because I'm a bit loosey-goosey on it.
Okay.
I'm more of a DC guy.
Yeah, no, that's grand. Stephen Graham plays Patrick Mulligan. Now, in this, he's a detective. He is on Eddie. He's convinced that Eddie's up to no good, that bodies are following him around, blah, blah, blah. In the comics, Patrick Mulligan is a beat cop who has a very unfortunate run-in with Cletus Cassidy. But as a result, much like what happened with Cassidy and Venom, the basically, regardless of the fact that Cassidy is in control and all the rest of it, the biological part of it, he does leave a piece of himself, which ends up becoming a symbiote, which attaches. It's the spawn of Carnage, basically. And what they do is
Toxin.
Yeah, exactly. He calls himself Toxin. But the thing is, this symbiote is more like Venom than it is like the Carnage thing, or like Cassidy. It's a new creature. It's just been born. It's not psychotic in any way, shape, or form. And as it attaches to Mulligan being a fucking cop, he ends up using it to be a superhero. And there's other stuff that happens as well. But that's the basic. That's the beginning of it. He would be his own hero called Toxin. But we never see.
Which was cool because we eventually see all those symbiotes try to team up against Carnage at one point.
Well, there's various different stories where that happens, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Carnage is like the Joker of the symbiote world.
Shriek is a symbiote
Shriek
too.
Isn't symbiote. You're thinking of Scream.
In the comics?
Yeah, Shriek has just straight up mutant powers.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't think she's a mutant, but yeah, no. One of the things that I thought she would do in this that she didn't is she has the ability to basically make people go knocking futs. And that's part of
they completely phased over that in the movie then.
A lot of what they drew from this is taken from the Maximum Carnage comic book and from the Venom story arc in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. Now, it's in the comic whereby they go through New York and Shriek is using her ability to cause riots and Carnage is just being Carnage in the middle of it. They didn't do that in this, but they did have kind of the mini crime spree whereby they're like, we can do what we want, finally.
I won't lie to you, Carnage-wise, as you said, bar the way...
the relationship that shouldn't be.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Bar the relationship between Cassidy and the symbiote, they're pretty on the money with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially before the symbiote, because I cannot describe Woody Harrelson is the perfect dude to play Cletus Cassidy.
Because
But
up to a
Mickey
point,
Knox.
they were on the same page, just doing shit.
yeah,
You know?
No, it's
my
honestly
issue was with Venom.
Yeah. That's
The
totally
buddy-
where my fucking problem was.
And the
whole Odd
symbiote
Couple
in Venom has
bullshit.
turned into one big odd couple gag.
Right.
And it was fine in the first film when they're getting to know each other. It would even be acceptable for the first few minutes of the second, but the film hinges on this and
Yeah.
continuously does it.
Well,
And
you
you're
need
just
to
like,
keep the quirkiness in there because it's practically one of his catchphrases now. Do you know what I mean? I can eat Mrs. Chen. That's pretty much one of his catchphrases now. So you need to keep him a little bit quirky so we can at least get one I can eat Mrs. Chen into the
yeah, but it doesn't need to be like the same gag all the time.
no, what I'm saying is in like
Yeah.
the
reason
It's
for
just
it being,
like-
I know, I get it. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they decided to put the.
There
I
are
can
some
eat
great-
Mrs. Chen
there are some
halfway
great
into the
acting
fucking movie,
scenes.
which meant we have to do goofy bullshit the entire way through.
There was a great couple of acting scenes with
Right.
Tom Hardy and some chickens.
I won't lie to you. I was
that was
laughing my
that
ass
was
off
the
and
thing that
also
happened.
crying inside.
Yeah.
When
Like,
he
I
did
just think
when he
that-
did the Sonny and Cher joke, where he's like, "That's what the chickens are for," and he's like, "I can't eat Sonny and Cher. They're my friends." And I'm like,
You know-
"Oh, you are no, that's not how that works. That's not how that works."
Trev is after mentioning they just need to redo it, do the King in Black storyline. Funnily enough, in interviews, Andy Serkis and I can't remember the other guy that was interviewed off the top of my head, but they have expressed an interest in obviously doing more films, but in bringing in the Grendel, which was basically this huge symbiote dragon thing,
Yes,
and that
very
was a prelude to the King in Black, who is basically the god of symbiotes arriving on Earth, and that's a big thing.
I have a question for everybody. Would this movie
Why having
benefit?
Dee Wallace in
Obviously,
it?
I probably
Well,
don't know
she
the
has
answer.
as much
but
application to
would
this
this
plot as she
movie
did in the other movie.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. If it was rated R, because the PG-13 thing kind
like,
of.
I'm
I
not
don't know,
hating on the
think so
rating.
ruined
because
it
I
for
won't
me in a
lie to you.
way.
The action and violence in this, I
Yeah.
didn't have an issue with.
Right.
Carnage looks
I thought they-
fantastic. He moves and
feel-
acts fantastic.
I feel if they had an I feel if they had
Well,
an R
that
rating
means
for this,
him
all that
looking
we were
good isn't
gonna
gonna
get
make it
is that
rating ain't gonna change
Eddie
that.
Brock has Deadpool in his head. And honestly,
Yeah.
God, I think that's all that would
That's
happen
a
if it
little
was
bit
R
more
rated.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't really think the actual movie rating is an issue. Mine was more of just the comedic style that they took of it.
Which was already in there, to be fair. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at what I meant by the look of Carnage, I meant as in his kills. That prison scene especially. Some of the stuff he does there is just completely on point. And more importantly, there's parts where like he's being shot at and it's going through him. This is all stuff that ties in perfectly with the idea that he and the symbiote are one. There's no we, there's only me.
Because
And
if the symbiote, if you look at Eddie Brock, if the symbiote moves off of Eddie Brock, it just leaves Eddie Brock there. Whereas Carnage, when Carnage went to dodge bullets, he physically separates himself because that's what
separated.
It's just you don't get that merger that's there is
It's like they were-
represented correctly visually,
Right.
but
It's like they were
storyline
kind of
wise
on the-
is completely wrong.
it's
They were
worth
kind of
it's
on the
worth
fence
pointing
of
out.
trying to do two things at once, kind of thing.
It's worth pointing out that in the early days of Carnage, there was the possibility for symbiote separation, and as time grew on, the symbiote basically just ended up inhabiting every pore of Carnage. They bonded pretty much on a molecular level, as opposed to there being two distinct entities with Venom and Eddie. You know, but at first, there was, even though Carnage was in charge of it, it's like a fucking mindless beast because Carnage is he's just overwrought it with his own manic mindset.
I'm wondering if it's something to do with maybe at first they're a match, but then towards the end, maybe because of Carnage, attacking Shriek, and then that's kind of when we start seeing maybe Eddie Brock kind of, not Eddie Brock, but
like that was story.
Cletus.
Yeah,
you see him. That's where it kind of starts, because that's when it kind of gets pointed out that by Venom or I forgot who pointed it out that they weren't a match.
It was Eddie actually pointed it out.
Eddie points it out to Venom.
And for the story of the movie, that works. But when you look at the actual Carnage, and Cletus, that was never an issue from the beginning. Like, they were just...
Cletus would have put the symbiote in its place, if you know what I mean.
Right. There wouldn't have been a place for it to be put because it's broken.
The sheer madness that is Cletus Cassidy infected that symbiote so fast,
instantaneously.
Like because they're outside of a molecular connection.
There's a psionic. There's a
psionic connection, and the minute that guy clicked into the Cletus Cassidy channel, he went fucking crazy.
It just broke. It broke all sentience.
Yeah,
no, you're right. For the movie, that worked. Like that gave them the vision.
That's what I'm talking about.
But that's what I'm saying. That issue between Shriek and Carnage wouldn't have happened.
Shouldn't have been there.
Shouldn't have been there because it was Cletus Cassidy was running the show almost instantaneously.
Carnage would have just treated her like a gold egg and never fucked with her.
I do see where now they've stated that they want to do more films. They've stated that they want to do a crossover with Spider-Man. There's a post-credit scene, and as a result of that, it's working towards either something in Far From Home or else working in stuff for Doctor Strange 2. Bear with me.
Okay.
I feel with what we're saying here, that's the way that Carnage could be in future films.
Yeah.
And we won't have the issue because of the way things went in this movie, because it'll just be me, no more we.
I don't know.
I checked the cast listing for No Way Home.
Fucking spoiler.
Tom Hardy is in it. Well, I mean, it's just not really much of a spoiler. I had 3 of them.
Because,
yeah. Well, look. In fairness, right? He pretty much at the post-credits scene,
legitimately
looks at Spider-Man on the TV and goes, "I'm having him."
Right.
But they had also said that before they thought there should be a few films before they'd be able to do something like that.
And I don't know his extent to what he's doing. It shows him as a
Tom
cast
Holland
member
that runs it.
as Eddie Brock.
Honestly, I would say I'd say post-credit scene.
It could be. I don't know if they have that in there.
Where Tom Holland is just walking up the street and Eddie Brock just bumps into him.
It could.
Yeah.
And there's a weird little face standoff.
Yeah, Venom's just like, ooh, I like him.
Because no, I see it between the post-credits.
Wasn't that a thing at one stage that the symbiote leaves Brock to go for?
No, it was
the other way around.
Parker finds the symbiote on an alien world during the Secret Wars. He thinks it's just a suit. He gets home, he realizes that he's behaving differently, and Reed Richards points out the fact that, hey, dude, that fucking thing is alive. You need to get it off you. He eventually manages to get it off him. He rejects the symbiote. At the same time, Brock is having a terrible day.
In the bell tower, or no, wait, am I mixing the movie?
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. I think it was in the church. That's where That's where Parker gets rid of the symbiote.
Spider-Man goes up to the bell tower because it's the only way he can get the symbiote to get off of him, and the symbiote falls off of the bell tower and hits Eddie Brock.
Well, I think it's a little bit. It falls and finds Eddie Brock afterwards. I'm not sure if it lands directly on him in the comics, but essentially,
and then it helped to find out that Eddie Brock had a problem with Peter Parker, and the suit had a problem with Parker and Spider-Man.
And then they had a mutual agreement of, we don't like Spider-Boy.
Oh, it was more than that, though, because in his mind, Eddie Brock, Venom, was convinced that Spider-Man was a villain, and everything he was doing was to protect innocent people from him. He was following the fucking J. Jonah Jameson line oh my gods.
Are you reading Trev's thing?
No, I'm seeing the future of the movies.
Could bring Carnage in, Norman Osborn type thing, or when Spider-Man became Carnage in one of the comics because of Norman testing shit.
Oh, yeah, that was fucking vicious. He got the Carnage symbiote on him, the Red Goblin.
Because, like I said, Tom Holland just signed on for like 3 more Spider-Man films. And if you look at the post-credit here with the ending, you can see where we can eventually see a tie-in to these characters and shit.
Like
I hope.
And Doctor Strange is definitely going to be a big thing too with that.
Yeah, I hope that
the multiverse of madness.
We do it less comedically.
I think if at the end of No Way Home, Spider-Man, without Peter Parker involved in it, but at least Spider-Man is still seen as public enemy number 1 by Jameson, then I wouldn't be surprised if Venom is introduced at some stage in his head going, we're the good guys, we're the lethal protectors, we have to stop this menace known as Spider-Man.
You said menace.
Danhausen. I was thinking of Jameson because he always called Spider-Man a menace.
Now, Bill says he heard there's a rumor around that Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson have a after credit scene from Spider-Man No Way Home. That would be kind of interesting just to see how that fucking played through after the movie.
As I said, I have an idea if they do bring Carnage back as to how A, he can be back, and B, we no longer have the we, and it would just be me, and it would all fit.
I have a feeling he was just added to this cast list because I don't remember seeing him announced originally, and then the most recent time when I was actually looking it up to see because the tickets went on sale this past Monday,
so that people can actually have surprises when they watch films because fucking trailers and everything ruin everything.
And he's literally the third, like right after Tom Holland and Zendaya. It's
Tom Hardy.
Whatever the fuck his name is.
And
I forgot. Tom Holland. Or not Tom
I'm
Holland.
with Trev. They just want him to have
they
just want Venom to have the white Spider-Man logo on him. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I was kind of like I missed that when this whole thing first started. Like I was expecting the tier of, and it's just like, hey, here's Tom Hardy and Venom. I'm like,
well, in the realms of the storyline that they've painted here already, it wouldn't make sense for Venom to have a Spider-Man logo.
No, it would. And I think that's kind of what disappointed me was just how the whole Venom thing started. And then the first one, it was just a little too comedic for me. I still enjoyed the movie itself, but then the sequel came out, and I was like, wow. So everything I didn't like about the first one, they made worse with the whole.
The thing with me with this one, I wanted to like it a lot more because I am like probably one of my favorite things with Marvel is Venom, Carnage, and all that stuff. I don't feel like with Let There Be Carnage, I don't think they progressed.
I didn't really feel like that either.
It's the story.
Like I said,
like it just didn't seem like it did. It was just a rehash of the first film.
It's not even a rehash of the first film featuring Carnage. It's an exploration into the post-credit scene from the first film.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like it
Venom
really was anything different.
It was like Venom did Monday and then Venom
like
2 was Tuesday. It was just like continued the ongoing.
And I think a lot of that is because of what we were saying earlier in regards to comedy and the fact that they stuck with the same fucking thing that we've seen from the first film anyway.
I will say, in the defense of the slightly more comedic Venom, and this is a very small, but in the defense of the slightly more comedic Venom, is I'm not normally one for the, heartfelt, teary, we've had a breakup, and this is how I deal with my breakup thing. But Venom wandering around and just getting his fucking party on during Mardi Gras was
dude,
a delight.
And
when he went up on the stage and he's just like, Eddie does it, and everyone's just like, fuck yes, this guy is having a moment here, people, and we're going to be a part of it, and we're all sharing an experience right now. And I love that whole scene. And it was something about the LGBT / all the Mardi Gras community and everything like that it was just, it's the one place that Venom could just go and be himself, because everyone's just like, fuck yeah, bro, you do you, and you enjoy yourself, and you are your star player, and that's what fucking matters. And I enjoyed that little scene so much. And then they had to ruin it. Yeah, he dropped a mic.
And then they had a little mic
that was fun. And then they had to ruin it with the whole, I wish Eddie was here to see this. And I'm just like, oh, you big fucking soft fucking, you're not the fucking.
No. So that whoa. So that he could rub it in Eddie's face how popular he is without him.
No, I didn't. That's not what I got from that at all. He was sitting down very upset. And he's like, I wish Eddie was here to see this.
I wish my best friend was here, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's okay. That's not just me, Carter. Right? That's definitely okay.
Like he did.
Yeah, that's what I got from it. It was just the tone in his voice. It wasn't sad, like, oh man, I would. It was like, it was more of a down.
Right, like it wasn't also, kind of like.
Just briefly, can we also discuss one of the massive elephants in the room, and that is what the fuck is the whole shit with that is a red one? What in the actual fuckity fuck?
Because they needed a funny line to explain the difference between the symbiotes.
They're all different fucking colors.
Yeah. But they needed a line to explain the different symbiotes.
I was gonna say, like,
the red ones are scary.
Comic book wise, the red ones aren't scary. That particular red one is fucking terrifying. That
actually, the comic book wise, the red ones are scary because I think he's the only red one because he's fucking primarily blood and symbiote mixed.
I think I did like that line, but I was also the same. I like that within the realms of what I was having to deal with as a storyline. I enjoyed that particular line, but in the greater knowledge of what's supposed to be going on, I was upset.
Yeah,
the duality I have when I try to go into things as not having read the source material beforehand and try and enjoy it as its own thing was high during this one.
But you see, here's the thing, right? Once again, it gets to my point. These films would not be getting made if not for the fact that the fan base is so strong. Yep. If the fan base is this strong, then why are you making films that have the fan base turning around and saying that's wrong and that's not good enough?
Because Marvel are kids' movies.
Also, not to mention, also you have to take into account, dude, we can't make a movie for the 10 fucking people. We have to make a movie for the masses. So you have to find some...
I won't lie to you. I don't think, unlike a lot of other comic book villains and stuff like that, where they might need a bit of an introduction to the non-masses, nearly everybody knows who Venom and Carnage are.
And more importantly, like,
you may know what they physically look like, but you may not know.
Rochi said it was bollocks. Stupid odd couple thing has been dragged out. I agree with Giz. Do King and Black series and make it R-rated.
What was I saying? Shit. I had a point.
I'm saying, like, not everything, because, like, what was it? We watched The Green Knight. Giz was, like, filling me in before the show and a lot of backstory of the stories and stuff like that. I didn't know about it a lot.
Okay. This is the point that I was trying to get to, right? While I understand the idea of having to make stuff for the majority, at the end of the day, you are still choosing to use a character based on the popularity and the amount of people that already know it. If it didn't have all of these many people, this massive appeal, this massive fan base, you wouldn't be using it in the first place. So regardless of trying to placate the masses, if you do not handle the material in such a way that the people that liked it originally are willing to go along with it, then it's going to fall flat in its face, which has been proven time and time and time again over the decades.
And Hollywood has not learned, because they look at it as, yes, there is a fucking 10% comic book community that will definitely buy a ticket. Or we could open it, do a slow, like, what was it, like 3 Iron Man kind of thing, where they try to, like, completely introduce a non-comic book reading community to these films, and they were able to sell more tickets that way. And while I, as a comic book fan, agree with what you're saying, even in our own community, the comic books are, like, dying out because there's not enough of us buying them right now. So you can't turn around and say,
no, that's a legit.
Yeah,
that is a legit thing.
Yeah, like they're shutting down certain reads now because there's not enough.
It's a legit. Yeah. Sure, DC at the moment are currently getting very close to not doing any more print.
Yeah, they're talking about digital release online. Yeah, so even in our
you're talking about just people reading them online, not buying the books.
Like enough of us are not.
The actual comic print
industry
is going down
that's different.
The shitter at the moment.
Yeah,
okay. Well, people are still reading stuff.
I get
it's just they're not reading the books. That's what I thought you were trying to say was people won't
even in our own community we're not supporting this. Yeah. So here's a company trying to make $1 million movie and expect to get $3 million back. If we're not even buying a $2 fucking comic, why are we going to buy a $20 ticket? Like, that's what I'm saying. So they have to open to a larger community.
At the end of the day, to be perfectly honest, at the end of the day, while I fully and will always fucking support the idea of printed media, we are looking at a technological shift, which means that as long as the product is still going out in digital format at least, then you still are continuing on. Yes, you're losing the print side of it, but unfortunately, it's just the way technology progresses.
Also, on an actual, like, production company level, right? They always the aim of the game is to make something that everyone can enjoy. and that also should be okay with the people that are aware of it. It didn't work here, just to clarify. But always, you can't. You have to paint to the wider audience, always, and that's it.
That's asses and seats.
No, I get that. It's just that
And you also have to take into account that some people are going to have parents that are going to be bringing kids to watch the fucking movie, and the parents mightn't have a fucking clue about the comics.
But here's the thing, right? Okay, I get all that, and we have seen this stuff. We've seen that fine line walked properly before.
Yeah, well, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying that. I'm not justifying what a comedy farce this movie has been turned into. But what I'm saying is, they have to do storylines to appeal to a wider audience. They did it badly here. There is a line that can be walked.
Because they've done it better in other movies. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, but you also have that.
I always said, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 is the one that's nailed it best for me, still to this day.
I'll be honest. I enjoy Tom Holland as Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe. However,
I enjoy the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies in the Marvel Universe, but in the greater span of things, I always feel when I'm sitting down watching Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 2 specifically, it works for Spider-Man 1 as well, but Spider-Man 2 specifically, I feel like I'm watching a comic book.
Okay, but that's not the point that I was going to make. The point that I was going to make was
the point I was trying to make. You started saying stuff while I was in the middle of my thing.
All right, fair enough.
That felt source material to me. Do you know what I mean? They did their own story and they did their own way of having everything happen, but I felt like I was sitting down and watching an Amazing Spider-Man comic.
Right. But still open to the masses to be able to come in and figure out what was going on.
Here's the way I'm hoping things go, right? Okay, I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe. I haven't enjoyed the single Spider-Man movies because for me it's too much teen angst. I'm hoping Far From Home or No Way Home is going to be less teen angst because he's going to be dealing with a larger situation.
I think you might be disappointed.
I fucking
just
hope
to warn
you.
I will say I think Tom Holland is become my favorite.
My hope is that Venom is at least going to be like that, whereby his solo films are too comedy, but because of those solo films, we can now have Venom appear in this other Marvel stuff over here, where perhaps we're able to enjoy him a bit more because, they're not relying on the whole, we need to appease the masses. Instead, they can go, this is what Venom's supposed to be, this is what he's supposed to do, this is how he interacts with other people. And
I feel you are going to be really disappointed. So
there's two things about that. One, I agree with him. You're going to be really disappointed. And two, well, I would hope so because you fucked off with two movies. So time to get real in the third one.
The thing is that,
but I doubt it.
You bringing him in to MCU or not, you've introduced him to your audience as this character. So now it's going to be that character in this situation. Now, don't get me wrong. I could be wrong, and it could be a case of once he meets Peter Parker, and he gets a taste of Parker, maybe we get to see Venom
a bit of a shift,
the incarnation that we're kind of been looking forward to. But currently, I would imagine it's going to be goofball Brock and Venom in MCU. Initially, anyway, and it depends on what way it goes. You can chuck your lip up in the air all you want, but I mean, it's like this is the character they've built over the course of two movies. So it would make no sense after doing two movies of that way to just change that character's dynamic completely when you just put him into the MCU.
Maybe I explained myself wrong. Because it's not his story, because Venom would be in somebody else's story, we wouldn't get as much of the slapstick fucking odd couple shit that's been annoying. We would get it.
Because you probably won't have as much.
Because the situations require...
What has been exhibited through two movies is that all the dynamic between those two is that slapstick odd couple dynamic. That means that that's the dynamic you're going to get while they're on camera. Because currently all I've seen in any movie that they've done with those two in this current iteration is goofball odd couple.
Situational.
I'm sure there's gonna be some form of it. I don't think it's going to be.
I could see a tone down of it because we kind of resolved.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Because you're not, for one thing, he's not going to be on the screen for a whole movie.
True, but if you look at the last two movies, every time he's been on the screen, I'm sure it'll be toned down a little bit because he's not the main star of that movie.
Right.
But it's still going to be a goofball odd couple thing.
It could also be situational as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I said I could be wrong, and it could be a case of once the Venom symbiote gets a taste of Peter Parker, we get the iteration of Carnage that we're supposed to be fucking getting. Once
what
that
I mean
fucking
is that
bounce between Peter Parker and Brock and everything happens, we could be getting the Carnage we're supposed to be getting. But I can't base it on that. I have to work off of what's been given to me on screen already.
And what I mean is not that they run into Parker. What I mean is they're in a situation whereby
a lot of madness. Welcome to the chat. How are you?
They're in a situation whereby there's no need or there's no reason for the comedy, that's what I mean by situational.
Well, you also have to keep in mind, though, it is Marvel, and as much as I've liked the Marvel movies, we do tend to lean into comedic.
Yeah,
I think it depends on the characters, but yeah.
Well, that's all Marvel.
For the Disney stuff,
own that shit.
Hulu is going to be doing the more darker stuff.
I mean, there's.
There's also Hulu more darker stuff.
I guess you want to say
MCU because if it doesn't do well, cool. It didn't happen on Disney, and we can just squash it.
Right.
You could almost look at you could almost look at the Hulu stuff as.
Yeah, but Marvel's not owned by, or certain Marvel's not owned.
There's a couple of eggs in the carton that are not owned by,
but not all of them.
Do you remember?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't say Marvel in general. I would
Marvel
just say
Knights, and then you had Marvel Max, and that was the Marvel Comics idea of going into kind of like the more adult themed stuff. So if you look at the Netflix stuff as being almost like Marvel Knights, you could look at Hulu as being Marvel Knights or Marvel Max as well, whereby that's where you go if you want the kind of the darker, more adult themed stuff, the more serious stuff, where like you have Punisher putting bullets in fucking gangsters' heads, stuff like that. But for the majority of it, Disney Plus is going to be handling the more, I suppose, family friendly, or family appealing, even if they are
the stuff that pretty much.
But even within
Sony does
even within that realm, we've seen both on small screen and big screen that they can still do serious stories that have humor in them, but aren't necessarily based on the notion of we're putting this on so that you have a story where you're getting a lot of laughs in it. It just happens to be a comic book movie. So and
you're right, Buzz. Like, Sony does own these properties, but you got to remember, though, they are making with some. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're talking about Spider-Man. We're talking about Venom. Like, so that's good. They are making deals with Disney so they can sell a product. So it kind of falls under Disney in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have Marvel has Spider-Man back, but the other Spider-related characters are still.
No, Sony has it, but they're allowed to use them in the MCU, and they have to. They have.
Yeah. They have a deal.
Marvel
with
are very, very, very involved in how any of the Spider-Man movies are done currently because he's in MCU, but they have free reign on all the rest of the Spider-Man related side cast.
Yeah.
So stuff like Venom,
Kraven the Hunter,
Morbius,
that's going to be interesting.
Blade.
Now, like I said, I am kind of curious.
I hope the series him up a little bit when he gets brought into the MCU, because I mean it's a good excuse to try and retcon what they've put on camera currently. Like as you said, and I agree that like movie one, I got the Odd Couple vibe because I'm after literally just getting an alien in my brain. We're all trying to get used to each other. I got that, but like, it's unless, as Carter said earlier, that all of this is like movie one happened on Monday and movie two happened on Tuesday and Wednesday, which I didn't feel that was the timeline that was presented. Because there's been a major FBI case and they've all been checking in.
I think it's like a year later or something.
It's like the story kind of ran together. Like,
no, what you're saying, what you're saying is right. It's just it's not.
Right.
That's why there should have been more progression. But the way that they have their relationship going, as it's still the honeymoon period, when there should be at least a little bit,
right?
Sony still has
less
Fantastic Four and
Odd
X-Men.
Couple and more one.
Madness, I believe.
No, they don't. Marvel bought them.
Yes.
No, Marvel got them too.
X-Men is Fox. X-Men is Fox. Yes, because Disney bought 20th Century Fox, which owns X-Men, and I believe the
Fantastic Four. But
so Fantastic.
Sony owned the Fantastic Four, but I think
Fantastic Four, but
the rights thing ran out on Sony. That's why they tried to do that piss poor movie a few years ago. So that's part of the thing.
Oh yeah. But definitely X-Men was owned by 20th Century Fox, and because Disney bought 20th Century Fox, they own the rights to
the X-Men. You're able to get certain characters. Some are still kind of up in the air with who owns, because it was like they didn't. Who was it? Fox sold. They didn't want. What was it? It was something like they couldn't buy all the eggs because some was kind of competing, so they split it up between Sony and Disney and somebody else.
Oh no!
Some side characters are kind of still up in the air.
Oh no! Yeah, what Trev said there after just getting a really bad.
Yeah.
They've spotted
that's the thing with the whole
Venom from
we don't know
Spider-Man
everybody
3 movie showing up, and now I'm wondering, is it going to be modern goofball Venom versus Spider-Man 3 Topher Grace Venom?
No, I think he meant to put stopping. If you read the sentence, it says if Venom is going to appear because of the multiverse, what is stopping Venom
I know, that's
from Spider-Man 3 also appearing? I think he accidentally puts. Oh, well, the way you said spotting, I thought you meant like somebody actually saw spotting. Him. So that's why I thought
he might have meant to try type stopping.
He hasn't.
That's what I.
You know what?
So it's just it's not a guaranteed thing.
You know what?
It's just what
just
what is stopping.
Just to see Tom Hardy turn. Just to see Tom Hardy turn around and go, "I'm Eddie Brock, you little shit." Boom.
Right, like
worth it.
Actually, it'd be one of the few times I actually be okay with the more goofball Venom, because I'd like this whole where like Topher Grace comes out of the Venom costume and says a line, and then you hear Venom like, "What the fuck is up with this guy?"
Yep. Oh my god, that would be awesome. Oh, that would be awesome. Topher Grace. Good God.
Because we don't know, like, what we've seen in the trailers is only like maybe a limit to what is going to be coming out of the multiverse.
Just briefly,
when all that happens. So
for a lot of madness, after the next Doctor Strange movie, we probably will be seeing the Fantastic Four introduced as a result of the whole multiverse thing.
A very bad movie a couple of years ago, and they're just doing the smart thing, and we're like, we're just going to let that lie for a little bit, let people forget about that movie, and then we're just going to start from scratch again. First one.
I don't think any of the Fantastic Four movies were any good.
I enjoyed the Silver Surfer in the second one.
Okay, so Rochi just said, plus you're forgetting the one thing that can turn this Venom into a villain. He ate Carnage. It will infect him, hence the post-credit scene and his fix on Spidey.
Like I was saying earlier, Venom isn't a villain and never has been. It's just that Spider-Man is a public menace. Venom, the symbiote, hates Parker and Spider-Man. Brock, the person, hates Parker, and then later on Spider-Man. And they believe wholeheartedly
Venom actually helps people most of the time, except for Spider-Man, at which point he tries to annihilate and kill him.
Because he honestly
I feel like I should be wearing this shirt right now.
It actually takes a number of run-ins before they team up, and Venom's like, okay, he actually turns around and goes, okay, maybe you're actually not the bad guy after all. And Spider-Man's like, of course I'm not the bad guy, you fucking freak, you are. You're kidnapping people, blah, blah, blah. But I did it for their protection.
Don't call me a freak. That hurts my feelings.
I did it for... You know what?
I did it for San Francisco.
Fuck this shit. I'm out of here.
No, I'm sorry. That was
Eddie, he hurt my feelings.
That was Rikishi.
So no, I don't know, man. Like, while I did not necessarily like this one, I do see a lot of potential and opportunities for future shit. I do see a lot of crossover and intros into what could be some awesome runs. But I also don't want to get my hopes up, because I got my hopes up for this.
And the last one. We've had two comedy movies.
Right. I'm like, so I'm trying to kind of stay on like an even keel of like, okay, so, Spider-Man 12 versus Venom. Okay. okay, maybe this. You know,
I think it was one of the movies, especially the first one, where I like Venom so much that I like left the theater. So I'm like, oh yeah, I like the movie, and then you sit there and I'm like,
that gave me
it wasn't
the one
that
thing
good.
that gave me hope in this movie.
I don't want it to hurt my soul.
The duality issue between Carnage and Cletus Cassidy in this, which, as Giz pointed out earlier, now that he's technically been defeated, I could see how storyline-wise that's the excuse for Cletus Cassidy to take over wholeheartedly, which means that now we will get proper Venom, because bar that one bit of his character in this, we had proper Venom, and I liked it.
Yeah, right.
So
and I mean, like,
I hope to God they tone him down for the MCU,
guys.
or they use the MCU as or something happens in the MCU that gives us a slightly more grounded version of the Venom we're used to, because I'm not liking.
I also feel like there's gonna be other people that can bring the comic thing to, maybe they don't, because in Venom and by his own movies, he's kind of the sole person to bring that. With when you bring him in the MCU and you got Doctor Strange,
the thing is, man, you have to look at those MCU movies.
You got
currently.
more people that can.
Everyone in those MCU movies currently are laugh machines.
Yeah, but here's the thing. As much as I hate it, it's true.
We could still have the Venom that they presented here, and all they need to take away is the idea that the two of them are actually comfortable with each other and they're not fighting anymore, which is what we get from the end of the second one. So you could still have Venom doing like snappy one-liners and stuff, and they're funny. And as long as they take away the odd couple mix, you still have the comedy without the annoying.
I do agree with what Trev's saying. Trev mentioned about how the issue Venom has with Peter Parker is because he rejected him in the church, and I don't know how they're going to do that now, because that means that Venom's going to have to leave Eddie Brock.
No, you said it earlier though, like, because they what are they, lethal protectors, and Spider-Man's the Menace. Like, I feel like you couldn't put the nail on the head, or the nail on the head. Like, that could be that transition of like, we got to go after that little motherfucker. He's a menace, and we're lethal protectors.
Or at least that's Eddie's mindset, and the symbiote ends up during the fight grabbing onto Parker, attaching to him for a while. Parker has to get rid of it. Eddie has to get it back.
Right. Now, I will say, like, there is a spot in the movie where, like, after the whole Odd Couple thing's done, you do still see, like you were talking about, the Odd Couple thing's over. They're sitting on the beach kind of bullshitting with each other. But you still get the Carnage kind of like, we need masks. Really, bro? We're like 8 foot.
Yeah, he's a fucking goofball.
You know, like, I feel like we're good. So, like, I agree with Giz. You can still kind of have those one-liners in there for, like, rib tickle, but still have, like, a good kind of like, we're no longer at odds with each other thing. We just going to have to see, because that goes into who's going to direct it, who's going to write it, and who feels like kind of thing. You know, like, that all changes.
I don't even mind them, but slightly at odds with each other. It's the way you do it, not so much. It wasn't so much what was being portrayed; it was how it was being portrayed. I had a problem with. Do you know what I mean?
See, like, because Trev was like, see, that's my problem. Venom needs to bond with Spider-Man, then he needs to reject him. Also, Eddie needs to hate Parker. That all fuels Venom's hate. And with the way Spider-Man's currently going, you know, like, he's still high school. So he's not the, you know, because it was that whole Parker and Eddie were always, like, out for each other, trying to, like, get the story and get the pictures.
Whereas
like,
they haven't run into each other much at all, have they?
Right. No, they haven't.
Yeah. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, not at all.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how they're going to do
Once
that,
again,
because they've skipped the step already. They've gone straight from.
Well,
they would have had to almost have Parker somehow in, like, this film to have that interaction before.
I think that might be why they stated that while they do see Spider-Man versus Venom being a thing that happens, they also admit that it wouldn't be for a few films. They'd need to do stuff first, you know. So
yeah, but how do you do stuff if you've already skipped the step? Do you get me?
Maybe they haven't.
I don't know.
He's already got the Venom suit.
Rochi kind of brought up a good point, though. Holland will get his ass kicked in the new movie. Venom will show up, bond to him, give him the boost, and then Maguire will see it and panic, try to get it off of him, die trying. Like, there are a lot of different ways. Yeah, exactly. So like there are a lot of different ways you could manipulate it, since we skipped over such what I felt was a vital section. There are ways that could go back. No, I don't either.
I don't think that's
I just
gonna
mean
happen,
like there's
though.
opportunities. They could kind of like try to backtrack, make it the new Venom character that it should have been or something.
I would hate if they did it that way.
This is
Really?
my
that particular way, because that's literally just for for fucking 5 minutes during the fight. There we go, you got he had the Venom suit on, there we go, we can just continue on from here. That's not.
But I mean, like that kind of covers it because Maguire fought it in the multiverse. Like that's kind of bringing that storyline over.
The way this obviously hasn't been proven because obviously the movie's not out yet, but like the way that I think the other Spider-Men are going to be introduced into this next film, I think is going to be almost at the ass end of the movie, to where that's not going to happen because I don't think they're going to have the time to have all that take place. I mean, like I said, this is just what because the whole thing is that during the trailer that we did the reaction for Spider-Man, when Doctor Strange is like, I can't hold them, they're coming through. I think obviously a lot of fighting has happened at that point, and I think that's when the other Spider, because they don't know who's coming through. He just knows somebody's coming through, but he doesn't know what. And I already have a feeling Doc Ock's already been through this. Like all the guys we've already seen in the trailers are already been through, and this is the other two Spider-Men coming through. And I just don't think that's that particular way.
Rochi says it's Marvel. They will take 10 years to come full circle after teasing it. Now, I will admit, though, it kind of sucks because, like, I kind of have to agree with Buzz on that. Like, you don't really, like, you can't do so much. Like, you can only do so much in a film, and then you kind of have to save some things for, like, the ass end, save a person, stuff like that. I kind of feel bad, though, because, like, as I look back through Holland's movies, I've liked him a lot as Spider-Man. But then I look at it, not really.
I think I like him the best out of
like
the three, to be honest with
standalone
you.
like Maguire and Garfield.
I don't know. I like the other. I
And
didn't like
for
any
me,
of the
like
Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Garfield was the kind of like
I like the originals
tracking,
with
constantly talking
Maguire.
Spider-Man. And oh fuck, I forgot the first. Maguire was like this smart kind of geeky kind of deal. So I liked that Holland kind of is a slight mash of both of those. So to me, he's kind of become the closest to the Spider-Man. But I also look at all of his movies. He's always in it with Iron Man. He's always in it with somebody else. Like, I feel bad because he's never really had a chance to like do his own thing. And now, even as we get into this, we're talking about again Maguire showing up and Garfield showing up, stuff like that.
I mean, Iron Man was like in Homecoming, but I don't think he was as like sporadically. I don't think it was enough to where he didn't carry the film himself. Like, Iron Man just kind of appears every once in a while. Like, I honestly think those two films were really like especially the second one, Far From Home. Like, I really like the new ones. Like, he does this one in the.
No, I'm just saying, like, I agree with you. I'm not knocking him. I just felt like there's always been a bigger star in it than him. So it just felt like he didn't always have his, like, own kind of movie, I guess.
And another thing is, I almost feel like kind of what Giz said kind of at the beginning of this. I wouldn't be surprised if it is like a post-credit type thing. Because then that possibly might lead into... Especially with saying that Tom Holland just signed on to 3 new Spider-Man movies, going to lead into a separate movie where Eddie Brock and Spider-Man are
I think it is going to be a post-credits thing, and I would hope it's going to be a post-credits thing because there's going to be so many villains and other Spider-Men showing up in this.
Get lost in the shuffle.
Right. It's almost like a freaking Avengers movie in a way. With all
the Spider-Verse. They're finally doing a live-action version of it. I think Morlun might be in it as well.
Who? Now I'm kind of curious what y'all think about this though, because Madness says
Morlun
I don't know.
is someone who goes from dimension to dimension.
No, I couldn't hear the words that came out of your mouth when you said them initially.
Oh, I think Morlun might be in it as well.
Okay.
Now Madness says I don't know. Tom Holland ain't a good Spider-Man to me. he got handed over on a silver platter everything he needed generally. I'm not quite sure what that means. Like, I don't think he got handed over. Like, maybe
I think he's talking about. I think he's talking about.
Maybe he's talking about a lot of the
Tom
tech
Holland
and stuff like
specifically.
that.
If you look at the second movie, do you know where he's dealing with Tony Stark and stuff? Like, literally, he gets the suit off Tony Stark. That suit nearly has a button for anything that he has a problem with, and whatever the suit can handle, Iron Man showed up.
I think it's just because they needed to introduce him, but basically the deal came through and they decided they were going to use him, so they needed to introduce him at a certain level for Civil War. He needs to be at a level whereby he can be seen as taking on these guys, and if it's not from experience, then Stark giving a tech boost is certainly the way to go.
See, okay, yeah, right. You compare it to
No,
Wire
guys. I like
went
this.
to create work on their crafts, though Tom Holland has Stark's suit. So, okay. And to a degree, I have to kind of agree with that, because they all built their own web shooter or did whatever. Holland does kind of have like a super suit. Like Johnny said, there's a button for fucking everything.
No. But before that, though, hang on.
But then eventually he does it himself
until the movie after that, where he shows up in the Iron Man suit that he'd previously rejected.
Well, I mean, it shows him doing his own stuff before Stark comes to him. And like I said, Stark needs him at a certain level to be seen as actually capable of taking on the likes of Captain America, which he's not going to be doing with the stuff that he's built himself. And the web shooters and stuff, he does state that he invented that. He does, like, Stark only improves on stuff that Parker's already done. So it's not that much of a thing.
Except for the Iron suit, which Stark made.
Because in it, yeah. Well, but then also, Peter ends up making one in Far From Home at the end because there is no more Tony Stark. He's on the ship. And he actually made his own.
It was already made
after a while.
Yeah,
so
he didn't make his own suit. He got an assemble pack and made a suit.
Like the other Spider-Man had to either like create Legos to do some shit. Tony Stark already had the Legos made, and Holland just kind of like put different pieces together to create a cooler suit that would work.
But all of that stuff that Stark had pre-done is based on work that Tom Holland's Peter Parker had done initially. So all those things are there, but the groundwork that came up with all those ideas and those designs and everything that he has is all based on stuff that Parker was initially doing.
And see, I guess I just didn't see it as that clearly because like
and in the other films, it's just he just made the suit.
I am going to have to interject here temporarily due to the fact that it's 2:00 in the morning now, and we're sidetracked off of what the actual movie we were talking about was. We're going to hit the trailer for Venom. Let There Be Carnage. We'll be back with our ratings for the movie after the break.
All I ever wanted in this world is carnage.
Lady here. We should be out there snacking on bad guys. I am a predator. I need to be free.
You have got to get control of your aggression, or you will get hauled off into Area 51. You live in my body. You live by my rules.
I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please let me fix it so I can break it again. You are a loser.
Eddie Brock, I want to give you my story. People love serial killers. Please,
why me?
What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. I have tasted blood before, and that is not it. All I ever wanted in this world is carnage. not a crazy man. Are you a vengeful one?
Oh, shit!
Whoa, where you going?
That is a red one!
You need to come out right now. I will let you eat everybody!
Promise!
I promise!
Oh, yeah!
Betty, you feel like home to me. Like family.
Oh, wow.
You could just say, I'm happy for you.
That was going to be us!
I am happy for you.
No!
God, I'm so sorry.
Not sorry!
This two needs some serious couples counseling.
And that was the trailer for... Here in my eye. That was the trailer for Let There Be Carnage. Yeah, ratings.
I'm gonna have to go with a 3.
I'm gonna go with a 3 because, like, dude, when you get down to it, the fight scenes were sick. I mean, like, and there was a lot of cool shit with Woody Harrelson. Like, he brought to the table exactly what I thought he was going to. So I'm gonna go with a 3.
I'll say 3.
Oh, hey.
Not
later, Trev.
what I
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Oh, see you, Trev.
See you, Trev.
No, I enjoyed it. I just felt there wasn't enough progression between movie 1 and movie 2 to where it was like I don't really felt like we went anywhere different. So I enjoyed Woody Harrelson. I enjoyed the fights. I enjoyed the look of them.
I'm actually going to give it a 2 because I enjoyed this on a comedy movie level, but that's not what I clocked in to watch.
Right.
I almost went 2.
Well, that's
but
why I'm
like,
giving this a 2 because I enjoyed.
I liked it better than that. So
I enjoyed F13.
13 Fanboy?
Or 13 Fanboy. Sorry, yeah, I enjoyed 13 Fanboy a bit more because it was like they went out to do a bit of Friday the 13th fan service, and I think as that being the sole mission accomplished. Do you know what I mean? I got a kind of a Venom movie here. I definitely got the Carnage I wanted, bar 1 or 2 little things. But
Woody Harrelson just fucking killed it.
Yeah, I just wasn't a big fan of. Well, sorry, I tell a lie. I was a big fan of Venom in this, but not for the reasons I should be enjoying. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, do you know in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, do you know when Simo does he has these little disco boogie in the disco?
Yeah.
That's a brief little break in character that I got a bit of a ha-ha out of. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know he's a lot sassier in the TV show than he is in the movies, but you know what I mean? Like,
even still.
Yeah, but you get what I mean. That was a brief little comedic break in character that I enjoyed. And then, other than that, though, he was that guy. Whereas this was not a brief comedic break for me. It was all comedy. And one of the reasons I like, outside of the action, one of the reasons I liked it was all the ha-ha-ha. But that's not what I went in looking for, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It's weird. And I feel too, because I feel 13 Fanboy went out with a mission and accomplished it a bit more than...
I'll definitely agree with that. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a 2. So it's 2.75 for this as well. I suppose we'll do a poll here again, will we? Do you agree on the Venom ratings? Do you agree on the GC Venom rating? Yeah, drop your poll below. So it's 2.75 from us, 3 threes and a 2. Let us know if you agree. And Giz, next movie. Prepare for some very in-depth discussions once we get out of the thing, because this is a fucking Edgar Wright visual masterpiece, and I don't give a flying fuck what I hear about people saying.
I agree.
About it.
I agree. Okay,
I
so
didn't hear anybody talk bad about it.
Yeah. Okay, so very briefly, the film is set in modern times in London. Tamsin Mackenzie plays Eloise, who is a prospective fashion student from Cornwall on her way to a fashion college in London.
Adorable, by the way. I'm just going to
Totally.
She also happens to be spiritually sensitive, I suppose is the best way of putting it. Now, this is stated.
That's one way of putting it. Yeah.
It's stated at the beginning of the film. Her grandmother mentions it, asking does she still see her mother. She says, no, I don't. The grandmother is worried that moving to a place with all these people, all the different voices, maybe she won't be able to get a grip and she might lose it. And it's just played over like this is a thing that'll happen. Don't worry, I'll be fine. So she goes off to college. She's very nervous about people because her grandmother tells her London's a dangerous place. Initially, she moves in with a girl in the dorm. That's a fucking disaster.
She's right. See you next Tuesday, that lady.
Yes, she is, dude.
Yeah.
Top level.
So instead, Ellie ends up finding a room to rent in a house in Soho, which is owned by Mrs. Peel. Well, it's not Mrs. Peel, but it's Diana Rigg. There we go. Playing Mrs. Collins, the landlady. She has some very strict rules, but they're all very handy enough. Unfortunately, Ellie has a love of 60s music. She loves The Room because it's done up in 60s styles, hasn't been done, thinks it's brilliant.
She's a vintage lady.
She is. She goes to sleep that night and has a very vivid dream involving a blonde lady in 60s Soho who Ellie seems to be walking in the footsteps of, and visually this is fucking spectacular.
Can I just on a movie production level, this is so well
brilliant
shot. Like when you go into an Edgar Wright movie, you're expecting several things from it. Meticulously thought out cinema composition, very, very well laid out shot arrangements and stuff like that, and a cracking soundtrack to accompany everything and kick it over the edge a little bit. And this is as exemplary
it's
a
just
thing as I can
stunning.
find. It's beautifully done.
Ellie becomes entranced with her dreams because the more she, basically she enjoys seeing what's happening with this blonde woman, this lady that she finds out is called Sandy or Alexandria. She's got
or Alexi or Lely.
Yeah, she shortened her name, and then that becomes a thing. Now, Sandy has aspirations of being a singer, much like Cilla Black, who she sees on stage, and meets up with one Matt Smith playing a character Jack, who is a manager, and agrees to get Sandy set up with stuff. Now, once again, Ellie is enthralled by this life. She's enthralled by her dreams. She looks forward every night to getting away from her well, I'm not going to say her shitty college life because she's actually doing really well in class. Her dreams are inspiring her designs. Her teachers are very much into it. But she sees her dreams
around her.
She sees her dreams as a way of escaping to a more glamorous life. Unfortunately, this life, these dreams start to take a darker turn. They start to become more sinister. And over the course of the film, Ellie is not only beginning to be afraid to go to sleep, but she's also determined to find out more about this life of this mysterious Sandy because she thinks something might have happened. And it spirals from there. And it is fucking fantastic visually. I mean, the effects that are used when Ellie is walking along in her dream state, she is often represented in mirrors, and you see Sandy in real life, and the two of their movements are just perfectly in sync. Or sometimes they will swap positions in the middle of a conversation. So you have the two different actresses. You have Sandy there, and then it automatically goes to Eloise, and then
it's
to Ellie.
It's nearly like a high
again.
fashion, highly stylized version of the way you would have seen Tyler Durden and the narrator interacting with each other in Fight Club.
Yeah, even to the point where at some points Ellie is almost speaking for Sandy in her dreams when Ellie is trying to stick up for Sandy at times against some of the people who are trying to use her in the business. And like I said, while the story is very good, to a certain degree, the story isn't the best thing about the movie. The best thing about the movie, I cannot overstate, is just
how good it looks.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
dude, the
brilliant,
visuals.
man. The music blends in fantastically. Everything about it is just so period perfect almost. And the seamless transition, especially in the dream sequences between Ellie and Sandy, and the movements, the reflections, and the way that she then begins to visualize it in her waking day when certain aspects start to encroach in and she starts
I
to
was gonna say,
spiral.
like, that's where it really got really good for me. Like when Sandy was chasing her up the stairs, and there was just like this kind of overlap of both worlds, one realer than the other, but you could still see the camera work was just fucking awesome, dude.
There's a lot of films like this that we've seen in the past whereby they kind of lean into the green lighting effect, whereby somebody thinks that someone is crazy. Now, this film does have that aspect to a degree, but it's kind of it's done so well that it doesn't feel like a character is going to greenlight themselves. Instead, you, the viewer, is wondering the same as the character: what's real, what's dream, what's hallucination, what's actually happening, and more importantly, what is happening to the character in these times when reality and the dream are mixed together and she's still on the go. She's still doing stuff.
And that's when I mentioned in our chat was yesterday, whenever after I had finished it, I kind of told Johnny, I told everybody, he was the one that responded, was like, it definitely gave me Malignant vibes. Just the way that, like, that same thing you said, where it's like you couldn't tell what was reality, like almost what was kind of almost, you saw what was going on.
You're not sure what the character's perspective is.
As her
I
descent
wasn't
into
fully sure.
madness, for lack of a better description, happens, there's this, the definitive line between what was Eloise and what was Sandy slowly starts to get kind of blurred as the things get on. So I can see how you're...
and I think in the description of the movie, they even said, like, the crack of reality. And, like, that kind of is what it fucking is. Like, am I getting a coffee, or am I now back to watching Sandy do this? Like, she couldn't...
And it was, like... Obviously, storyline wise and stuff wasn't like Malignant. I had
not
that
taking
same
away from,
feeling.
Not taking away from Malignant,
just
but
like
Malignant
that
only wishes it could have been shot this well. It's fucking, and I'm not. James Wan did a fucking brilliant job on Malignant, but goddamn, this is visually breathtaking in some of the shots. Like it's I said in the article I wrote earlier today for advertising, like the word I used was intoxicating. Like it's. Some of the set pieces and sequences when they kick off, you get sucked into the 60s right with
so
Eloise.
fast.
Well, and like Buzz said, he said it in the chat. At the time, I had not seen the movie, so I was just kind of like, okay, so there's like, whatever.
No worries, Madness. Thanks for joining.
Later, man.
Later, Madness. Thanks.
So, that I just kind of went into the movie, and then as I was watching it, I finally understood what Buzz was saying as everything was unfolding. I'm like, okay, I totally get what he's saying. I will say, dude, it was kind of cool. Like, I hadn't seen Matt Smith do any, like, I know he's done shit, but I hadn't seen him
Doctor
since
pop up occasionally.
Right, but like, I hadn't seen him since like fucking Doctor Who. So all of a sudden, here's this like cool Matt Smith being like a cool Matt Smith like asshole, and I was like, I like this character.
He kind of got to show up as the less charming side of the Doctor in a story that is essentially about two different timelines blurring together. So he wasn't really overly out of his wheelhouse at all.
Dude, this film had Doctor Who, Emma Peel, and Zod, for fuck's sake.
Winning.
Dude.
Fucking
Zod.
winning.
Oh my god.
And like Johnny, because like we kind of talked, because I don't think you guys watched it yet, but we kind of talked separately. And he went in and he was like, "Well, I'm not spoiling it, but he's like, I kind of saw the ending.
See, I did
the whodunit kind of thing.
I actually
kind of from the beginning. Early, I did
many twists and character flips and stuff in this movie.
I mean, for me, it wasn't until like and even then, I was shocked.
What I did clock pretty quick was I figured out who Sandy was pretty fucking quick. But what Sandy was up to, I did not.
I'll be honest. I thought that the person that you were thinking of was the killer, and because of the line earlier about being a cleaner in the house, and I just kind of went, and because of the rules, all that went through my head is, maybe someone interrupted something and decided enough is enough.
No, I did not see it fucking coming.
you and I are talking about the same person. I clocked that person was who that person was.
Yeah.
If you get me, but I didn't clock the
what her
killer bit.
activities were. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the dreamscape bits are quite misleading as to the way murder unfolds up until a certain point, which had me thrown off completely. The reveal of who Zod was blew my fucking little mind balls right off. I thought that was great. I had it kind of clocked as well, but it was one of those. It was so overtly.
The silver was that the old guy at the bar?
The hint was so overtly.
I didn't know.
Given
I didn't know who
earlier in the movie that I.
No, I know who Zod is.
He played him back.
Do you know the creepy old fella that she meets in the bar the whole time?
No, I did. I just didn't know
he was the original
had played Zod previously.
I had clocked.
That's why I didn't know who you were talking about.
I had my suspicions that he was who he thought he was, but
I got it.
It was so overtly that when the reveal finally happened, I was like, bully for me. I was proper like...
And it gets buried by other stuff as well. That's the other side of it.
Yeah, there's so much going on in this movie.
Because like I'd held like so many of his roles are always like creepy or scary. So like when he popped up, I'm like, that's the fucking killer right fucking there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I hold past roles against you. Like, so I don't expect you to ever like try to like save orphans from a burning bus.
I'm going to say this on air to Giz and
the funny thing,
Carter, that Rochi has sent me a message for some gaming nights during the week that Dead by Daylight is free on Epic Games to download until the 9th.
Oh. I haven't played that in a dog's age.
Yeah, so it's free to download on PC from Epic Games until the 9th.
Nice.
So you have been told.
And the thing with
download it, it would be cool
with
to do some
kind
games.
of when
I have to do stuff on the PC tomorrow, so
Epic Games, make an account, download it. Epic Games, yeah.
Good.
The home of Fortnite.
What was the name of it again?
Dead by Daylight.
Epic Games.
Epic Games is the. Also, for anyone else who's on PC, go to Epic Games. Get Dead by Daylight. We can do some. We can do some live people arounds. Obviously, we won't be able to get the same amount of people in to play with us in one go, but we can do a round robin live.
Note taken.
Yep, same here. I had to write that shit down. So no, like I said, it moved a little slow for me. I don't know. I was having a real bad ADD day today, but I can't give enough props to the fucking camera work and shit, because you think of one spot where we see the knife dropping on Sandy, but then when they cut to the blade, you're looking at the eyes of
it's breathtaking.
Ellie, Ellie, yeah. Every time the knife dropped, you're seeing her in the reflection watching this horrific thing, and she's losing her shit in both kind of worlds. And it was like, this is dope.
Can I actually say as well, can I say in relation to character work and Ellie's descent into madness, or whatever you want to call it. Lucky when she went to London, she met what could only be described as the nicest young man on the face.
Oh my God.
Talk about God level of understanding.
Right.
I mean,
wow, back kind of like, wow, dude.
Because
everybody else
when stuff goes down in the bedroom, when he comes back to the house the first time, I could see how you'd be a bit pissed when you'd be leaving. I'm not even talking about it getting blue balled kind of way. I'm talking about in a I'm a black guy in an old fucking white lady's house, and you're screaming like I really did something bad, and I just feel that I'm either. I'm just going to get the fuck out of here, because this is not going to go well.
If I might,
he was
right?
walking
Just
on some broken
similar
glass.
situation, though completely different. 2x cops or 2x cons plus 3 dead bodies. I do not like the math on that.
Right. And for him to go up the next day, hey Giz, last night kind of scared us both. Are you okay? Like, he was just the nicest motherfucker that could have been in that entire fucking movie, dude.
Like, I wouldn't have been ununderstanding if he turned around and was like, "Bitch, are you fucking crazy? What the fuck? What the fuck?"
And you know, like until like the owner of the building came in, he was even still like, "What can I do? Are you okay?" Like, I'm like, dude, no, you've been here like 10 minutes longer than I would have. So
like,
later,
I won't lie to you. If that was a Wayne's brother movie, he'd have gone and clean out the window. He wouldn't have even waited for the old lady to show up in the room. He'd have been gone, licking his lip.
The other side of it is, and the only reason I say this is because having been in similar situations myself, is it stated? Hang on, is it stated categorically that the two of them were spiked at that party by the other chicks?
It's very highly implied.
Is it? Okay, I didn't catch that part.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying, and this is what I'm getting.
They've made a point of any time they were that particular group of I'm going to call them a gaggle of cunts. I think that's a fair. Yeah. Anytime you saw that gaggle of cunts out during the movie, they were always taking some coke or they were doing something. So, and there was this look between
and they
even housemate and the group when she saw the two of them there together, where she was like, "Oh, watch me kick this up a fucking notch." She's like, "Here, guys, I brought you a fucking drink."
And they almost kind of make a little bit of a nod to it when she goes to the police department to kind of tell them about. It's like, "Are you sure you weren't taking anything?" And they kind of go back to
the point that I'm getting to. And like I said,
drinks.
I've had an interesting life. He, in that stage, it's very plausible to think that he is a student. He's been there for a while. It's very plausible to think that automatically in his head is, she's been spiked with something. I need to fucking chill her the fuck down.
Well, yeah.
Okay, I have to argue.
That's not the part that I had a problem with.
Oh, okay. I'm just explaining characters' line of like.
No. I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. I looked at it from kind of a realistic. Hey, here's this white girl screaming bloody fucking murder. I'm the only black guy in the fucking room, and fuck me, I gotta bail. Like, this is not
white girls.
This is that whole, like,
as I said, I wasn't being racist by what I said, but as I said, if it was a Wayne's brother movie, Carter would have been gone out the fucking window.
And I'm just like, no, I kind of had to, like, I leaned into what you were
like that news report from
convicts in a body. This does not bode well.
It's like
same
that
fucking story, bro.
It's like that news report from a Scary Movie. Do you remember where it's like, and here for Black Network News, white girls are getting murdered. We're getting the fuck out of here. Or, white girls are getting murdered. Cops are everywhere. We're getting the fuck out of here. Whoop.
Because this is like us sitting on the couch bullshitting. I was partially dressed. She's screaming bloody murder. A bunch of shit's going on in this room. I gotta fucking bail, bro. It just is.
Up until this point, and you said it yourself, this has been the nicest guy in the world. So, seeing him being the nicest guy in the world, I am completely willing to buy the notion that he is sitting there in his head going, she's been spiked, and I need to fucking control this situation.
Yeah, this is why I said that she's lucky that she met the nicest and most understanding person on the face of God's green fucking earth.
I'm saying that kept his ass in the room.
Not just outside of that. There's a near fatal face stabbing in the middle of a library in broad daylight that he handled what I can only describe as like a fucking champ.
Jesus. As soon as she grabbed those scissors, I'm like, oh no.
You, sir, on what can only be described as panther-like reflexes.
Oh God.
Because that was literally just like, oh no.
He stopped her and was like, hey, do you want to go have a coffee? Talk this through? I'm like, you almost killed. I got better and less crazy.
Yet again, not to go back to the Wayne's brother movie thing, right? But crazy white girl nearly stabbed bitchy white girl in the fucking face in the middle of the fucking library, and he goes running after fucking bitchy white girl to try and defend the crazy white girl.
Some of us like crazy chicks.
You're white. I'm not trying to sound racist. It's just there's been a definitive, it's something that's been categorically proven on countless times throughout history that you are of the skin color that might be able to fucking just go, maybe she's just a bit crazy. I can't see how this would have any ramifications.
But like you said, because he was so nice, it was like, oh my God,
we're going to get kicked off air.
because I think she's spiked. That's why his ass stayed in the room 5 minutes longer than I would have.
Yeah. Just to clarify, by the way, before anyone tries to fucking noose me up by fucking Monday socially, like
you're not entirely wrong.
I'm not wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like.
Dude, I'm black, and that's my running.
I'll put it this way, man. I've seen enough of modern culture and how things of that nature can go that I could see how, if that young lad had stayed around for the cops to show up, that was not going to be a very easy conversation.
No,
put it that way.
Let's be fair. That might not have been an easy conversation, regardless of color. But you're right. It could have been worse. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So no, the fact that he stayed there because he thought she was dosed and wanted to try to help her still only goes towards the, my God, that is the nicest motherfucker in this movie.
Oh yeah, because it didn't even dawn on him that he's got drugs in his system
Wasn't it?
as well.
Right,
absolutely.
Stabbing somebody in the face in public, broad daylight.
Wasn't it absolutely adorable when he went and bought her the Coca-Cola because he accidentally drank hers?
Right, like
I was like, oh. Like he almost had me. I was like,
just
oh,
to let you know, it was a cheap date. Just a can of Coke, and he's yours.
Yeah,
he almost
not
like man. If I was his friend, and like, sir, you are a better gentleman than I because I am as white as a fucking sheet, and I'd have jumped out the fucking window during that fucking scenario.
You know, and the fact that she's like, hey, I have to get out of town now. If I'm not back in 5, go check on me. I'm like, starting car, she's out of the car, driving the fuck off. Like, that movie would have ended so fucking
but
differently.
It all worked out really well. And
well, and that's another thing. It's like, she's like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm going to hop on the train or wherever.
Can I tell you what I
got a car.
Can I tell you what I loved about this? And I won't get into the ins and outs of how it works out, but what I will say I loved about this movie, and it's a typical kind of Edgar Wright twist on the standard horror movie tale. Happy ending.
Yes.
And I was like, oh,
it's sad. Like that's the other thing that got
quite refreshing. And do you know why that was quite refreshing? Because unlike, say, your standard slasher movie or something like that, where it's I'm here to watch the guy show up and miscellaneously murder a load of random meat that has been given some lines to fluff out the rest of the script. I cared so much for these characters.
Yes.
Like Eloise was so well done. I can't remember the nicest gentleman on the face of the planet's name right now.
Jack. No, John.
John. Sorry.
John. Yeah.
Michael was his real name.
The grandmother, though she's in it briefly, visually, and there's lots of phone calls, she's just this real nice, doting, loving grandmother, and you're just like, I just want to see her. I don't want to see anything happen to that dear old lady. She's really nice. Eloise, as I said earlier, is this gorgeous little flower in a horrible fucking cityscape, and she's adorable, and you just want to pick her up and give her a hug. Do you know what I mean? And John, as has been stated for the last 10 minutes, is the nicest human being on the face of God's green earth. And when you actually get a happy ending, you're like, oh, I'm so happy to see.
I will admit, though, the grandma kind of creeped me out. Like, I kept expecting, I don't know, like some alien horror. Like
you've watched too many horror movies.
I have. It's that
some people's grannies are just nice ladies.
Which, to be fair, I'm just having a look now to see if Miss Rita Tushingham was in any horror movies, because that's who played the grandmother. She was in Dr. Zhivago. That's kind of a horror.
Well,
maybe
she was probably in Friday the 13th.
To be fair, she has been a rather prolific actress.
Friday the 13th movie where herself and Dee Wallace were coffee ladies in the background, uncredited. That one.
To be fair, she's been a rather prolific actress since the 1960s. So,
yeah. I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's the soundtrack is brilliant. Everything, as I said, it's an Edgar Wright movie, so the music is as integral to the storyline and is as integral to the shots as, because if you listen to some of the songs that are chosen, some of them are there for the sake of just giving you the 60s vibe. And some of those songs,
others are there because
some of those songs are singing
specific.
Plot to you, and it's just a beautiful absolute masterclass in cinematography and meticulous storyline telling and visual storyline telling working in synchronism together. That I people who I've seen complain about this movie, that's what I think of you. You can't appreciate good cinema.
Personally, what I think was one of the best visual things in it is the hands and the way that it, no matter what surface it was always glass.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Dude, that was brilliant.
That was great.
I think
that was
just like there's a lot of like little things like that you don't take into consideration, but it meant a lot when you're looking at the fucking movie overall and shit.
I also love it adds when you see some of those ghosts and they're doing like the Flash or Superman where they're blocking their face, but then you realize why that's happening later on.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful. It's so good. It's just so fucking good.
Or when she decides to dye her hair, and all of a sudden that line is just so blurred.
thing, like,
oh yeah.
And I gotta give props to girl Anya Tyler Joy, who did like the Queen's Gambit and that last Mutant movie.
Oh, it's Magic.
Yeah,
it's Magic from New Mutants.
Yeah, New Mutants. Thank you.
Jeez, I didn't recognize her until I saw her with her hair kind of pulled back.
Yeah, she did the New Mutants, but she also got a lot of heat from the Netflix, the last Queen Gambit, something.
Queen's Gambit.
About a chess. Thank you. About the chess game. So like she's really hitting hot right now. And I think they really did an awesome pick for cast members and shit.
Yeah. And I gotta say, that girl can fucking dance.
60s.
The one thing for me is
that girl can fucking dance when she's doing the 60s little dance sequences. Oh man, I nearly felt like doing the mashed potato. And
her and like Matt Smith both just fit in that 1960s bit. Like, you know, like that just completely solidified both worlds.
I never realized there was a dance specifically designed just so that you could keep your cigarette and your drink.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
don't put either down.
Speaking of those dance numbers, by the way, I have to say, there's a dance with her and Matt Smith, as you mentioned, with the cigarette and the drink, that I think it may have knocked John Travolta and Uma Thurman's iconic dance off the plinth.
Really?
This dance was great.
Oh, I don't know if you can ever really like knock John Travolta off the pedestal.
I think you can.
Considering what both scenes are supposed to be describing, I get where you're coming from, Johnny.
Yeah.
No, because both scenes are two people who are connecting literally through the dancing. Like that's the whole point of both of those scenes. And I see what you mean by the look of Uma Thurman and John Travolta, the way the eye connection and all that. And it's the same with Matt Smith and Anna Taylor-Rice.
But there's a moment like with John Travolta and Uma Thurman.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
With John Travolta and Uma Thurman, they're dancing, and you can tell there's this connection between the two of them. There's a moment during the dance with Matt Smith and Sandy, and you can literally see a spark between the two of them, and it's fucking great. It's brilliant.
Again, there's just a lot of good chemistry.
Yeah,
there was.
It's fantastically well cast. This.
Never mind. I was going to say something, but no, I'll leave it till after the show because it'll be spoiler territory. So no.
Oh, okay, no spoilers because this isn't out that long.
The one thing that I kind of found was like, and this is part of maybe why I didn't pick up on certain things right away, was the way that they kind of put a lot of the reveals. I mean, that's kind of how you do it though, but like a lot of stuff happened at the ass end of the movie. So when it really starts to pick up, it's like you go to one thing to another thing to another thing. It's like you're almost trying to comprehend the last thing that they showed, and then they're already moving on to the next one. So that's why
that's done by intention because it nearly puts
right
you
away.
into the same mindset as Ellie, because she's. Everything starts to click for her, like just shotgun blasts.
Yeah. It's not a knock on it. That's just
to me, like
that's why I just don't feel like I picked up on things that may have been obvious to other people that may have seen it. Like, oh, I knew that was.
There was only one thing that I picked up on straight away. It was proven right on, but we'll discuss that afterwards. And it's not even a big thing. It's just I was sitting there kind of going, I fucking knew it.
But like we talked about though, like Johnny had said, like, oh hey, I saw this. Giz had said he had saw this. dude, I was dumbfounded by the end of the movie. I was like, no, it's that motherfucker right there. Really?
Dude.
My legitimate answer to Johnny was like, I'm still not fully knowing what's going on to comprehend that.
I said, "How are you finding it so far?" He was like,
"That's who that was,"
and I was like,
"Right." I was like,
"Are you not liking it?" He was like, "Oh no, I'm liking it. I just don't know what's going on right now, but I don't think I'm supposed to."
Because I was only halfway through it.
Right. Well, okay.
To be fair, you probably weren't.
Because like
and I hit that
at the time.
I mentioned, oh fuck, what's this movie?
And then at the time you mentioned that I was only an hour. I was only an hour into it, so nothing really was given to you yet. So it's like that's why I'm like I don't know because
I'm not gonna lie,
know
it's gonna fuck
where
me
it's
up a little
going
bit.
yet.
Like I like how it looks, and I was like,
oh
shit. Buzz said he likes how it looks. Fuck. You know, I didn't expect yet.
Because like she goes,
I really liked it with Herman until Tarantino did that manky foot shot with her in Kill Bill, and I was just like,
Oh, I thought you were going to say until Bad Batman, when she was good for like 5 minutes.
I didn't mind her as Poison Ivy. It was that foot shot just ruined her for me for some reason.
She's a hit and miss with me.
It might have also been because before like foot fetishes were as outwardly a thing as they are now, back when like Kill Bill came out. It may have also been because it hung on that shot for so long that I was like, even though I was like 19 or 20 or whatever, I was like, call me weird, I think this guy's got a thing about feet.
Dude.
And then I saw Death Proof, and I was like, "This guy has got a thing about."
Feet.
Yeah. So Katie says, unpopular opinion. I love that Batman movie. Well, I don't know about the rest of the world, Katie, but it is an unpopular opinion.
You like bat nipples?
I just
bat nipples, Katie.
Batman literally was on life support after that movie until
far from the best.
That movie so bad.
Coming.
Mr. Freeze. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger was out there punning everything every 5 seconds. Oh my god! I know he would tear me apart because he's a monster.
I'm safe saying
I just punched him in his stomach.
I'm just going to let you know that's not going to go well. Like, he owns a tank, you know.
I just said that he's a monster. Buzz, he would kill me.
Buzz, if you do that,
but I would just do it.
Oh, dude, I'm not gonna lie. I'm totally from the safety of my camera. He sucked. That movie sucked.
I wouldn't punch him in the face. I could see me screaming at the top of my lungs, "Stop with the fucking puns!"
Or I tell him to put the cookie down. Put down the cookie.
And get to the chopper.
You need to get to the chopper.
These cookies.
Face to face, I've got nothing good to say about.
Why do I need to get to the chopper? Because you need to get the fuck out of here with these puns. I'm losing it right now. I'm fucking losing my mind. You're just a coffee guy. Don't fucking care. Losing my fucking mind. Losing my mind.
Perhaps it's just a way for him to see his enemies living below him. Hear the lamentations of the women.
Don't say
no. Staying in front of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I was like, dude. Kazam!
That's check. You don't want that visual in your head. That was a bad time. Do you remember that time Bill sent weird videos and I decided to look at them live on air? It was a bad time.
Oh, that was foolish of you.
Yeah, mantis nipples. Do you remember?
I told you. Tried to warn you. Nobody ever listens to me.
Cookie's butt down. Katie.
A lot of people hated the movie, Carter, and that's okay.
No,
I'm not saying that you shouldn't like the movie, Katie. I'm just appalled that you do.
The fact that like you liked it, like more power to you, dude. It was. I am just like
if you enjoyed that movie, by all means, you enjoyed that movie, and I will never take that away from you. But I will say that it just shocked the shit out of me to hear it.
It's okay.
I enjoyed that.
We all
right.
Like
it's okay. We all make bad decisions.
2 movies tonight that had pretty crazy twists by the end of it, and as crazy as those twists are, that's probably the statement of the night that shocked the shit out of me the most.
Oh yeah.
I'm
sorry, George Clooney is Batman. What the fuck?
Every time I see that movie, I'm just like, bat nipples. That's all. It's all I got. It was like, where was the logic on the nipples? On the it's body armor, right? You know, it's not like.
Oh, and Alicia Silverstone, god awful in that movie.
It's body armor.
I forgot About that.
She was.
Uma Thurman was probably the best thing in. Uma Thurman was probably
sucked.
the best thing in it.
Chris O'Donnell, you sucked
for 5 minutes.
I completely forgot.
It's more
so
minutes
was
of being good than anyone else had in the fucking movie.
Yep. No lie.
They didn't even get own.
Yeah.
They didn't even get fucking what's his face own.
Worst cast.
Don't do what Rochi says. I don't know what it is, but I have a bad feeling.
That's later.
Oh, he's doing it live.
We
on
were
air.
just praising the cast of
dude,
the
like,
last movie.
I thought Mike Keaton rocked it, and then it just got worse from there. Like, it was just bad.
What are you looking at? Do we even want to know what you're looking at?
Okay, well, curiosity is gonna fucking kill me one of these days. So sure, why not? I'm curious.
I'm not playing that on air, Rochi, but that's fucking hilarious.
I might not be able to.
Shocking.
I was gonna say,
but no. Back to point. Like I said, my ADD was kicking in, so like I had trouble getting through kind of like some of the slow spots. But I have to say, even visually in those moments, it was still a phenomenal fucking movie.
That's why I knew it was labeled a horror movie, because that first hour, I'm like, where's the horror? I'm like, and then I go, I'm like, it says it's a horror movie, and then
Dude, my
the second
ear
half happened. I'm like,
demon souls murdering everyone. Got it.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
I found it.
You can see it working up to a psychological horror before that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's this kind of horror.
It's
Never mind.
Suspiria until it goes malignant.
There's I didn't realize it was a psychological horror. That I would have been like psyching myself up, like, okay, it's cool.
As soon as Buzz.
That's why I'm like, this is a good 60s period piece. But no,
When I saw Buzz's comments, I was kind of like, oh, it's a headfuck film. This should be fun. And it was a headfuck film. And then other stuff happened, and it was like, oh, this is fun.
Can I say? There's a distinct
This
level.
is going to get a rare rating for me.
I'm not from the 60s, so I didn't notice it until I see people doing the dances. There's an uneven keel in relation to the amount of activity that the separate sexes have to do during 60s dances. Like,
like I said, there's a dance design for
Uma Thurman was just doing the same thing as John Travolta, but Sandy was going to town, and your man's he's got the cigarette, he's got his drink. I loved how smooth that guy was, by the way, that he literally managed to do an entire ball dance number, didn't spill a fucking drop out of his fucking drink the entire time. I was like, sir. He headbutted a man clean in the face, didn't spill a fucking drop. He put his drink down on the table. That is class. That is class. That's like James Bond shit, where he throws the martini up in the air, fucking pucks the guy in the face, and then the martini lands down with an olive.
Didn't start with an olive, but it's got one now.
I don't know where that olive came from, but I'm eating it. Good movie. Great movie. We're going to hit the trailer, and then we're going to be back for some ratings. I think there's going to be some fucking 5s in there.
Sell.
What brings you down then?
I'm studying London College of Fashion.
Room is on the top floor.
It's perfect. I love it. If I could live any place and any time, I'd live here in London in the 60s. Last night, I saw something in my dreams. There was a girl.
And you are?
Sandy.
I got this kind of gift. I can see people, places, things others can't.
This is the closest most people ever get to their dreams.
They're not just dreams.
Jack, I don't want to do this.
You think you can just walk away?
They really happened.
What did you see?
Do you believe in ghosts? I want to report a murder.
You witnessed the murder last night, but you believe this was a vision from the past.
The guy that killed her is still out there. I have to stop him.
Where are you going?
I know what you did.
I've done a lot of things. You're gonna have to be more specific, love.
You can't save me.
December.
We are back.
Christmas?
Yeah, I could run a Christmas promo at the end of the show.
Sweet.
Right. We'll do votes for this really quickly, and then we'll chat for a bit while I grab one of our Christmas promos. I'm giving this a 5. I fucking love this.
5.
I will give
this hit me on. Not only did I enjoy the thing, but on an actual technical level. Thank you. I don't have a clue what my mouth was trying to say. On a literal technical and masterclass kind of level, this also hits all of the fucking beats because it's fucking visually breathtaking from start to finish. So
I'm just gonna say, I'm kind of like, hey, it's cool. I thought it was awesome. My ADD was not prepared for this film, but I will still give it a 4.
Yep.
Okay.
I knew that was
cool. Let me mind read your fucking answer.
There should be a grading curve with your ADD.
Didn't we make one of those things before?
I think because it seems like every time it's I love the movie, but my ADD kicked. Like that's like
I was
85% of the movie.
Slow burn, even though it was basically freaking awesome.
Did you read the bio before you watched the movie?
No.
What part of? Right. Okay. Right. 5.
I didn't know it was a psychological thriller. Otherwise, I would have done my laps, had a cup of coffee, and then sat down for. Didn't. So I'm like, cool.
I envision you like watching 20 minutes of a movie, and then that scene where Kevin McAllister realizes all of his family are gone. That happens, and then you sit down and watch the rest of the movie. Is that basically?
You say it like jokes, but it's really fucking not, right?
I'm home alone. Then I made my parents disappear.
Like, oh, it's one of those. Okay, cool. Like I pause it, I go to the kitchen to fuck off review, have a cup of coffee, fuck off with some other shit, and then I come back and finish it.
You need to smoke weed, dude.
Maybe
can't.
you
That's
pre-do
the problem.
that.
You need to get edibles, dude.
Oh, edibles don't do anything either. Just make me nauseous. Like anything in pot vicinity makes me nauseous. That's why I can only drink.
Right. Okay.
Same thing happens to my cousin.
Maybe you pre-do that, like pre-do your getting ready for a movie like that, and then if it isn't, it isn't.
Rating?
If it is, you're already ready.
What? Wow.
You act like I've not done this shit before.
5. I love it.
You ceaselessly amaze me, Buzz. Like when you were like, I never would have guessed when you said it looks good, I was
by
like,
what I'm seeing. I love
he
it.
can recognize that it's pretty, but he's not liking this at all.
Well, not just that's what literally like I needed to finish the movie because I just didn't know where it was going. Once I found out,
the
I was
ending
like,
gave you the context you needed for you to
more in my eyeballs.
As a good movie should, where the ending answers your questions.
And obviously, I mean, yeah, I was gonna say majority of movies should do that because.
Sorry, I'm just getting the computer working again. I'm torn. It's either a very, very, very high 4 or a low 5. Because
that sounds like a 4.5 to me.
I fucking hate doing decimal point bollocks.
Is
0.5.
You don't have to do the math.
Am I right? Am I right, or is it a 4?
Yeah, I guess 4.5 would be Just because
it would be accurate.
While
high rating 4.6.
While I enjoyed the story, it was to some degree somewhat predictable, having seen other things before. But at the same time, there was enough twists and stuff that predictability, what little there was, it's not enough to throw you off. It's just that little bit where it's kind of like, I think, not counting that thing that I said that I guessed right, but I mean in general the story progression kind of a thing. You have an idea of where it's going, but it's done so well that you don't even and the turns and the twists that are in it, that they almost negate the fact that you can see some of the stuff coming.
Yeah.
And for me, like visually, the movie was fucking awesome. The movie got awesome the last 30 to 35 kind of minutes of it. Like I was like,
things kicked off.
And I was like, fucked. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I was enjoying the detective game for the majority of it. Because like I said, while I knew what direction the story was going in, the specifics were the interesting part for me. And like you said, that all the different twists and turns, the character reveals, that's the detective game. Seeing if we can figure out A, what the fuck is going on, and B, who the villain, I suppose, for want of a better term, might be in it.
Right. No, like I said, I loved it.
So you may have known the destination, but you enjoyed the journey.
I thought I knew the destination, and I liked the fact that it just kept me listening even till the end.
Oh, I didn't.
Like I said,
as our chats tell, I did not.
Us from the night. Thanks everyone for joining. If you are new to the channel and you haven't been here before, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button down below, as it really does help us grow the channel to the magical number of 1,000 that we are trying to get to. If you're one of the people that are watching the video later on in the week, not live, don't forget to hit the like button down below, as it will get the video a bit more traction. And if you're looking to hang out with us or talk to us or find us anywhere on social media, all of our social media links are down below. We're all in Discord a couple of nights a week, and the link for Discord is there. So don't forget to do that. And other than that, we'll catch you all during the week, where we're going to be talking about some other sort of mad horror bollocks. GoreCast out, fuckers. Bye.
Damn, it's hot as fuck today. It's lovely outside.
Don't forget, if you enjoy our Madcap GoreCast horror hijinks, we stream 3 nights a week over on YouTube, Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays, where you can see a little bit of this. Turd spoon, god damn, I knew there was something I wanted to bring up in the... God damn, I don't know what a fucking turd spoon is, but I'm mad to...
Get it pretty in-depth.
Most definitely some of this.
With a new 2009 twist. She pulls out of her vagina.
I'll give it to her though, because like, you know how like magicians kind of like do something and they pause dramatically? She took that dramatic pause.
And occasionally some of this.
Our favorite Halloween movies.
What's up, GoreCasters? Welcome back here to the GoreCast. Yeah, okay, I'm here. I'm back.